tomorrow's news today.
We are drugged out. We are following other people's opinions. We are controlled by the media. Today, it all changes. This reality has been forced upon us. It is a choice, just like when I said slavery is a choice. Einstein said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing, expecting a different result. So we keep on saying, I hate you, fuck you. How are we gonna get a different result out of hate? Why don't we just try love? Why don't we just try love? We have the resources for a peaceful world. You know, sometimes you need some crazy motherfuckers to change something. Steve Jobs is crazy, now we're all on Steve Jobs' phones. They say Trump's crazy, they say I'm crazy. But I'm here to show love. It's a bigger plan, and I'm just doing what the universe told me.
Resistance to tyrants is obedience to God. It's Alex Jones.
So it's quickly becoming illegal to point out that men are not women, no matter how they dress, no matter what kind of shoes they have, no matter what they paint their nails. So this is an attack not just on biology, but on speech, on conscience. You're not allowed to say obvious things. Here's an example. A self-described feminist in Norway called Christina Ellingsen is facing a 3-year sentence in prison. She's facing the possibility of going to jail for years because she affirmed the reality of biological sex. Specifically, Ellingsen tweeted that men cannot be lesbians. You probably never thought about this in depth, but it's technically true. She also said that men cannot become mothers. Now, again, that's true. But in Norway, as in all of the West, the truth is no longer a defense. Norway is now investigating her for hate speech. We, of course, immediately wanted to talk to her. Christina Ellingsen joins us tonight. Christina, thanks so much for coming on. This is one of those stories, and Norway is obviously a highly civilized country. I think it's the richest country in the world, a lot of great people in Norway. It's hard to believe this is real, and so I just want to check, are we leaving anything out?
No, that's right, this is the case. I've been, well, you can't defend women if you can't define what a woman is. And all over the world, stating biological facts is considered by a lot of groups as being directly hateful. So yeah, this is what I've been doing. I've been stating the obvious fact that men cannot be women, men cannot be girls, yes, or mothers or lesbian. And now I'm facing the risk of 3 years in prison.
Tell me how the country of Norway, again, a country to which we give every benefit of every doubt, filled with good people, beautiful place, but are you celebrated as a hero by people who still believe in science and free speech? Are people supporting you?
Well, a lot of people are supporting me across the entire spectrum, political, religious, everything. But a lot of people are also considering me on level with someone who's calling for genocide. I've been compared to everything from a fascist to a Maoist to a supporter of Westboro Baptist Church, which I don't even know what it is. But basically, the entire spectrum of everything that's bad in the world is being hurled my way, absolutely. But also a lot of support.
Are you surprised? I think you're on, I'm just guessing, but I think you're on the left. I don't think you're a right-winger. I think you're from Norway. Are you surprised by all of this?
Unfortunately, I'm not surprised because this has been in the cards for a long time. If you can't talk about biological reality, it's unavoidable. This is simply unavoidable. But yeah, no, I align myself with radical feminism. I've been voting left all my life. Now I'm much more critical to what they are actually saying, and it seems like all parties in Norway are supporting this pseudoscience.
Scary. We know the feeling. Thank you for joining us tonight, Christina Ellingsen. Very much appreciate it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Robert Barnes is in studio with us until a little bit of the next hour. Then Jacob Ingalls and Schroeder are here to cover some big breaking news. We'll host some of the fourth hour. Robert Barnes is going to be here for the next few weeks with the Sandy Hook show trial beginning on July 25th with picking the jury and then opening statements on the 26th. We've got a lot of things that are going to be unfolding here. I can tell you there's real national attention in this case, not just from the Democratic Party and how they've rigged all this with the media and these corrupt judges. And they've really screwed up, and in motions for limine said, I'm going to show you these documents coming out in the last second of this hour, that I cannot talk about the First Amendment, I cannot say I'm innocent, and I cannot say it's a show trial. She actually said this in the order. Never before been done, not even the Nazi judges under Hitler were this transparent. I mean, this is literal insane asylum level crap. I'm guilty already, the judge says. I'm defaulted, and this is all now going to be not one, but two in Texas in the next few months, and then one in Connecticut. And they're all synced and coordinated. The exact same rulings, judge in Connecticut, judge here, and it just shows that the Democrats are going for broke. That's all coming up. But Robert Barnes, you're a historian as well, good friend of mine. You also worked on some of these cases. You've got the big Pfizer case. They say it's the strongest case in the world, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the Pfizer whistleblower. We'll talk about that next segment. The Bannon trial starting, but just big picture in the 3 minutes to break about the world today, just where you would say society is with them openly cutting the energy off, saying it's for a great reset, it's for your own good, separately then blaming Vladimir Putin and local gas stations.
Well, I mean, basically, the globalist agenda has failed and backfired in Ukraine. I mean, what it's triggered is a massive fuel and food shortages around the globe. And what you're seeing is massive public rebellion against the globalist effort. And so you're seeing in Panama, you're seeing protests in Panama, the Sri Lanka government.
Hundreds.
All over the place. You have the protests.
Italy, the Netherlands, the UK, everywhere.
It's going to keep spreading. It's not going to be limited. It's going to be all over Central America, Latin America, Africa, because these are places that do not have the means to supply quickly a replacement for the food and fuel shortages that are coming, that have been induced by the globalist policies, a combination of the inflationary, out-of-control, debt-driven policies and politics during the lockdown, both in the U.S. and the West. And then,
which we said 30 months ago happened.
Absolutely.
You and I both in here precisely laid it out.
You can't just print this much currency and not have a economic backlash.
And then they blame that on global warming when it's their exact policies.
Completely. And in fact, the Fed is still pretending that they can control inflation now, that they can get it under control now for what they did. And there's no proof that they can. Instead, what it appears they're going to do is they're going to bust the stock market, they're going to bust the real estate market and sink us into a global depression.
But it all hinged on blaming us and global warming. Everybody knows it's them. All the numbers show globalist parties are in the single digits or double digits. They have really screwed the pooch. They bit off more than they could chew.
Completely. I mean, Draghi was supposed to be a future European leader. Macron was supposed to have a big supermajority in the parliament. Neither of those events are coming true. Draghi would be lucky to be anything in Italy.
Boris Johnson, assassination of the Japanese real leader.
Exactly. I mean, there's one after the other, after the other, after the other. And then, of course, you now have the economic problems and political protest in China because their no-COVID policy is backfiring. The state bubble exactly is imploding their financial economy. So you compound these things. The only country that appears to be stable and has a promising future is the country that was supposed to be under the mat at this point, and that's Russia. The country that's supposed to...
They're actually doing well other than losing massive amounts of troops. Fighting the CIA and the New World Order, they're doing great.
Completely. I mean, they're economically better off than they were before all this started, just as the ruble is better off than it has been in about a decade. So what we're seeing is globalist policies getting rejected around the globe. The question is, what do they do to try to maintain and sustain power as the world rejects their agenda? And that's where you're going to see a lot of desperation over the next 12 months.
Well, they've been telegraphing power outages not caused by the Russia war, but by Russia itself cyber attacks. They're getting ready, I believe, not just for rolling blackouts, but big blackouts they blame on the Russians.
Well, and we see more and more predictions of that. I mean, there have been issues involving, here in Texas, actually, with various alleged Russian attacks that don't appear to have been actual Russian attacks, that appear that we have, in Tennessee, we have natural gas facilities that have been attacked. So we have across the globe an attack on food and fuel, the core of any society or civilization, and it's to perpetuate a globalist regime that the world is now rejecting.
That's right, to make us dependent on them. Robert Barnes, one of the smart people I know, straight ahead, I'm Alex Jones. Stay with us. This is a big hour coming up. If you're like myself and so many other people on this planet, especially as you get older, you gain weight, even if you eat a lot less. And I gotta tell you, InfoWars is only about bringing you amazing products that really work. So we looked at the supplement market we fund a lot of our operations with.
What's up, everyone? You're watching Your Freedom Rising. We're streaming Alex Jones. Having a good day out there. Thanks for stopping by, hanging out, or just checking out what's going on in the world. Once again, it's Your Freedom Rising. Watching Alex Jones. Shout out to the chat. Feel free to drop by. Hop in the chat. Everyone's having a good day. Warm here, sun shining, but
InfoWarsStore.com diet force. You need to take this product. It really works. God has given humanity a lot of incredible molecules, a lot of amazing compounds, a lot of just, quite frankly, spectacular enzymes through the environment. Big Pharma, the drug companies, they try to imitate what God gave us through herbs and other compounds. Going back 5-6 years ago, I looked at the market and I said, what is the top selling supplement? And they said, well, turmeric's one of the hottest. And I said, okay, go out and give me the best turmeric. And they came back and they said, well, the average top turmeric is 35% curcuminoid. And I said, what's that mean? They said, well, that's the enzyme or the compound in turmeric that actually is anti-inflammatory and does all these great things. And I said, okay, well, what's the most powerful one we can have? They said, it's 74-75%. And I went, that's tested. And I said, well, I want to go higher. So we got the highest curcuminoid level that the big labs can make of concentrated turmeric in Body's Ultimate Turmeric Formula. 95% curcuminoid in Body's Ultimate Turmeric Formula. Only takes a few days to hit in for your joints, for your immune system, everything else. And then it's got Boswellia, Sarata extract. It's got organic spearmint, sage, lemon balm, thyme leaves, pepperdine, concentrated black pepper enzyme. What this does is simply incredible. All of it works in synergy. It's exclusively available at InfoWarsStore.com for 25% off. Been sold out for 7 months. Body's Ultimate Formula back in stock, 25% off, and funds the InfoWars. Experience the power of 95% curcuminoid today at InfoWarsStore.com with Bodies.
You can ride all day long. Another Mike Diesel production. But you'll never catch Mr. Jones. He's got a gang that's far too strong. I say. Your friends know it. That's why you're all alone. Chasing a man you can't see. So just walk away and let him be. He's got a shotgun, so go back home. Cause you'll never get Mr. Jones.
Leading a frontal assault on the lies of the New World Order, it's Alex Jones.
Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. The Alex Jones Show Central Time is live and forbidden from the general public unless you listen to our over 400 affiliates now on AM stations, TV, and cable, and of course InfoWars.com/show and man.video. All right, Barnes, we were talking during that break about that I asked you to come here in the next couple of weeks to stay with us to be a pundit and be an analyst here in the Sandy Hook stuff. We appreciate you being here, but covering the waterfront, January 6th is huge because you were saying during the break it's backfired. I agree. You've got the Bannon trial. You've also got H.R. 4350, the amendment to make the president basically a military dictator domestically. We've also got all the huge developments and lawsuits you're behind. The top lawsuit on Pfizer with a whistleblower. We've got Biden, we'll cover this next segment, is going to announce, they've now said, a climate emergency tomorrow as the pretext to continue to shut down the infrastructure. I mean, they are really, really squeezing us hard. There's the Hill reporting on it. White House declared climate emergency as soon as Wednesday. I guess they think legally to try to bypass things. What do you want to tackle first?
Well, it's all this. I mean, what we said at the time of the whole lockdown activity taking place, that they're going to misuse and abuse the emergency powers, and if they get away with it, they'll expand it dramatically.
And they said that. They said, we've done the virus, now it's climate.
Absolutely.
They said climate lockdowns.
And I mean,
oh, sorry, there's no power, you're locked down.
None of that. You got racial emergencies. Take here in Texas. So Roe v. Wade is overturned by the U.S. Supreme Court. What do they say? They say there's a medical emergency that requires mandatory abortions in Texas hospitals under federal law. And so that's what the Secretary of Health and Human Services did. So much so the state of Texas has now had to sue to try to undo the damage caused by this executive order.
It was ruled by emergency.
Absolutely. I mean, this goes all the way back to the famous Constitution, the Weimar Constitution of Germany. The great flaw in the Constitution that was then considered the crowning achievement of continental Europe in terms of constitutional democracy was undermined because it had an emergency exception within it. And they misused and abused it. And, of course, we had the trilogy of infamy of the U.S. Supreme Court cases here that misused and abused emergency power and state police power to say in Jacobson you could force you could charge people a fine if they don't take a vaccine. Then in the case of Connie Buck v. Bell said that you could force people to be sterilized against their will. And then, of course, in Korematsu, lock people up and strip them of all their constitutional rights.
And you warned Amy Coney Barrett would support that past rulings, and she has.
Yes. I mean, sadly, she has been the decisive vote to not overturn the elections. She's been the decisive vote to not meaningfully review these vaccine mandates in almost every context other than federal employment context.
Let's tie that to H.R. 4350 that plain and simple says Congress will no longer have domestic oversight of the military, and the president, whoever that is going to be, will. This just shows they're getting ready for total emergency rule.
Yes, the goal is to create a rule by emergency structure. I mean, now it's rule by emergency even against the U.S. Supreme Court. It's not just rule by emergency against the state governments, against the people's rights, against the legislative or executive branches.
And they've announced, as you told me in the break, they are officially going to stack the court or try.
Yeah, they are now putting forward legislation in the House to add 4 justices to the United States Supreme Court so that they would handpick to shift the balance of power in the court. And they've said that if they don't get that they would like to consider, some people on the left, scrapping the Supreme Court entirely.
And well, let's start over. So we should probably cover that first.
Sure.
This is unbelievable. And they say more will happen in a year in history that happens in 100. We're entering that period, aren't we?
Oh, no doubt about it. The last 5 years has been the craziest time period. The last 2 years has been the craziest time period I can remember in American political history, outside of maybe the Revolution and the Civil War. And even those did not pose the degree of threat to constitutional liberty that we have witnessed on a national and even global scale in terms of fundamental freedom.
So we're living in an incredibly dangerous historic time.
Absolutely. It's a time that's going to decide the future. It's a crossroads. It's a crossroads either to a time of great hope, great peace, great prosperity, great freedom, great liberty, or a time period of great repression and oppression. I compare it to like 1939 kind of environment. So it's a time period that we're either going to see the rise of fascism and communism and that kind of method of government, whether it's a global reset agenda, a globalist agenda, an emergency rule-driven agenda, a totalitarian agenda, an elite-driven agenda, or an agenda of the people, by the people, and for the people around the globe.
So we are the world at the crossroads. Like that's the title we'll give. World at the Crossroads, Emergency Report, Robert Barnes. We'll call this hour that. That really is it. We are at the crossroads.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just to bridge into whether or not we can sue the FDA and whether or not a whistleblower can bring a claim against Pfizer. I have both of those cases. With Robert Kennedy against the FDA, can they force a drug and lie to families and children about a drug on people as young as 6 months old? Because that's what the FDA is now authorized. We've challenged that.
They're saying safe and effective, and it's not.
Absolutely. It's not safe. It's not effective. It's not a vaccine. It's none of the three. They're using Elmo and Big Bird in schools and public institutions to lie to little kids.
Even before it was authorized 6 and up by the kangaroo panel that they had to replace 3 times, that was illegal to do that to those kids.
Absolutely. It has never been clinically tested in such a way to call it safe. It's never been clinically tested in such a way to call it effective. It's not even a vaccine. We now have the internal from the Freedom of Information Act. We have their internal emails that prove and document and demonstrate that they knew that it wasn't a vaccine, that they were being exposed for the fact that this drug wasn't a vaccine. So they decided to literally change the definition of the word vaccine to retrofit this drug into it. It's not safe. It's not effective. It's not a vaccine. Not only that, there's no emergency for children. What's the emergency for 6 months old or 2 years old from COVID? There's no emergency.
Let me ask you this. Why do they have the Huevos to cut off the world economy, to release this virus, to launch these wars, and then to cut the power off? I mean, these people have got big Huevos. I guess it's because they think they control the media.
I think it's a twofold process. Some of the people involved in this are simply incompetent. They're simply incapable. They didn't predict and forecast.
Oh, yeah, the globalists just give orders.
Yeah, completely. I mean, so more and more of these people with power don't know what they're doing frequently. And of those that do, the malevolent, the mischievous ones, your Bill Gateses of the world, your George Soroses of the world, your Rockefellers of the world, that crowd, they simply see that what's good for them is good for the world. They've convinced themselves that their agenda is the best agenda, and they just simply have to force it and coerce it onto the public. That's why they like to look to China's domestic example. They don't like China sticking its head up and challenging any aspect of globalism, but they like the way China governs its local domestic population. And they've been trying to impose and superimpose the same agenda along the globe.
Just like Stalin admired Hitler, feared Hitler, and hated Hitler, but he's on record telling his generals, I want to be like Hitler.
Absolutely. It's a very similar kind of approach. It's people who model their domestic control but don't necessarily want them to have international power. And this globalist agenda has mirrored aspects of what China has been experimenting with over the past decade and plus, and is trying to impose it on the Western world. And the problems of the Western world, the people of the Western world, the working classes of the world
are rejecting it.
Exactly. Don't want it, don't want to be.
Let's be clear, it was globalist think tanks that have used China as a laboratory. That's why Bill Gates and the Rockefellers and Rothschilds are behind China. China's not alone. There's a whole globalist China faction.
And we know from history, this is not new. I mean, who was it that was heavily involved in eugenics in early Nazi Germany? It was the Rockefeller Foundation. They were the ones helping push it, promote it, propagate it. So this is simply, they're taking back the old 1920s, 1930s script for globalist power, both in terms of what they're doing in domestic.
I agree. We're repeating World War I and World War II with a high-tech overlay at the same time.
Absolutely. And the difference is this could lead to nuclear global conflict. This could lead to global public health pandemics of a kind that truly are uncontrollable. And that's the great threat. Or economic food and fuel, famine and shortages around the globe that could destroy populations in the billions. And that's what they all agree about. They don't mind that side effect because that side effect is their intended objective in the end.
Exactly. As long as they don't get the blame for it, they're going to launch it. That's why they've got to get the blame. Expose the New World Order is beyond critical. Let's talk about Ukraine and the world economy when we come back, and then a lot more with Robert Barnes. I live one of the most.
What's up, everyone? So, what do you guys think? I've noticed myself already this time of year. It makes you wonder if it's that time of year again now, the last few years. Got people off at work exposed by COVID. I'm so exposed to. I wasn't me. I was thinking, you know, it almost seems like that's not a thing. I suppose people are going and getting tested. More than most likely right now, people just wanting to get off of work. Where I work in the factory, they're not paying out necessarily anymore because definitely abused that the first time around, time off work paid. And so it's interesting though that I've heard 2 cases of people already workforce out for COVID. Makes you wonder what this winter is going to be like what we've seen in the last few years. Are we going to see this ramp up in the, could say, media obsession with this type of things, with this flu season coming up? What are we going to see? What do you guys think? Obviously, we know the track record of the last few years. Question is, what's this bring? what kind of things are they going to try? What kind of, are they trying to do more lockdowns? What are the people's response going to be to that? So it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out moving forward. What we know now, what is widespread knowledge about what's going on, people that are behind it. Definitely going to be interesting to find out where people's hearts are, where people's minds are. It's surprising to me when people still buy into the narrative. Really kind of just blows my mind. Like, wow. Pretty old news, you know, as far as what's going on. And most of the people I talk to are in the know. So you find someone or run into someone that still isn't. A little shocking and surprising at times. So all we can do is just keep spreading the word, keep praying, keep the discussion open, going about what's going on, keep exposing the lies of the enemy, keep on doing our best to stay healthy, stay in shape. I actually went to the gym for the first time the other day in a while. In the past 10 years, I haven't taken much time out of the gym. For the past 6 months or so, my elbows were... I took some time off, focused on other things, started getting this podcast up and going, went to some protests, joined the convoy, different things like that, and now I'm back home, back working, and really feel the benefits of working out, how that affects my overall well-being.
Leading a frontal assault on the lies of the New World Order, it's Alex Jones. From the Infowars.com studios, it's Alex Jones.
Got a hold of me. I got no friends. 'Cause they read the papers. They can't be seen with me. And I'm feeling real shut down. Feeling mean. A major explosion at the Hoover Dam in Nevada.
Wow.
Hundreds of food processing plants blown up, burned down the last 6 months. Hundreds of times the regular number. Insane stuff going on. We are under attack. We're going to cover it all here today. But we're not supposed to talk about Ukraine. The little thing of the president, the little thing today, you know, it's COVID and it's monkeypox and it's transgenderism and it's this and it's that. But now Ukraine's moved away, but now they want the IMF and World Bank $600+ billion injected. Close to $100 billion has already been injected. And Russia is winning that war to take over the Russian-held areas that have always been historically Russia in eastern Ukraine. And Russian oil exports are at record numbers, profits are at record numbers, their rubles at record highs. Putin is winning this war, Art Barnes, in my view. Your take on why they want us to forget about Ukraine?
Because Ukraine was supposed to be the end of sort of a challenge. I mean, Putin was, along with Trump, two of the biggest challengers to sort of a globalist agenda in the world. And Putin has been that for 20, 25 plus years. And so whatever people think about Putin, the reality is he was an enemy of Klaus Schwab, an enemy of George Soros. Soros hated him. Putin famously banned him from the country. An enemy of the Clintons, an enemy of the Rockefellers, an enemy of Bill Gates, that whole agenda. And so the goal was to use Ukraine as a pretext to wipe Russia off the face of the earth and to return it to its 90s era colonialism, breaking up the country. They've announced these plans publicly. So that's what was supposed to happen. Instead, what's happened is the globalists are losing and Russia is winning. and the net effect of it is probably the end of global digital currency. Those plans have gone to sort of to crap very quickly.
Even Tony Blair, who's a New World Order puppet, he says the end of U.S. dominance is here. They've, in a way, they kind of walked us into this.
They did. They basically took a big gamble. They went to the roulette wheel and gambled against Putin, and it turns out poking the Russian bear has never been a successful historical strategy, and it wasn't again. And instead, it's they who are imploding and are resorting to extreme measures domestically to counteract this complete loss and debacle on the battlefield. I mean, people forget, we remember, World War I, you went in with a bunch of empires, and by the end of it, a bunch of empires that had been around for centuries, the Ottoman Empire, gone. British Empire, mostly gone.
Austria-Hungarian?
Entirely gone. I mean, look, in
World War I really killed the British Empire.
Absolutely it did. I mean, you had all those empires wiped off the map. With politically, geopolitically, and some completely historically, entirely. And what produced that? The Austro-Hungarian Empire? I mean, what happens is you can't have 6 generations of uncles marrying nieces and end up with competent, capable leadership. And that's what the Austro-Hungarian...
And that's what we got with Biden and all these people.
That's exactly what we got. We have intellectual...
Nothing but retarded arrogance.
Absolutely. That's exactly what it is. It's a new degree of incapacity and incompetence and incapability.
We'll talk about it in the next segment, but it's like the judges in Connecticut and Texas say, no free speech, you're already guilty, you can't say it's a rigged trial, I can say whatever I want at trial. I mean, they're just nuts.
Completely. It's what would happen if Caligula and King Lear married and produced an offspring. It would look a lot like Joe Biden, and that's precisely what we have.
But Caligula married his horse.
Yes, he did. Well, that too would look like Joe Biden. So, the net effect of it is what we have today. So, what you're seeing in the battlefield is Ukraine could never win that militarily. Russia's military is $1 trillion plus size military when you add up its accumulated weaponry and skill set of its professional soldiers.
And yeah, they got shoot up against the CIA, but they showed commitment.
Oh, completely. I mean, they realized that they were going to take certain hits, but they were willing to take those hits. And what I told people is it's a classic case of confession through projection. Just as everything they accused Trump of is what Joe Biden has been actually guilty of, what the Ukrainians claim is happening to Russia is usually happening to Ukraine.
And what history shows, if you've got a mass of people ready to fight, even if you're low-tech like the Vietnamese, you can't beat a resistance that won't give up.
No doubt about it. And what you have with Russia is these are Russian-occupied territories. These are places where people are ancestrally Russian, ethnically Russian, linguistically Russian.
Russia was born in Ukraine.
Absolutely. I mean, most of these cities were established by their in the parts that they're in, all the way to Odessa if they go there, were established by the Russian Empire.
1,000+ years.
Exactly. I mean, it goes back way back. The only part that's traditionally, historically Polish-oriented is the western part of Ukraine, where they're not going to go into. So what's happened? Like, remember when they said Putin had health problems? Well, it's really Biden that has health problems. Remember when they said that it was Russia that was having major internal dissension, losing law enforcement, intelligence officers, prosecutors, and military officials? Well, just this week, Ukraine had to sack their top prosecutor, had to sack the head of their military intelligence.
They just sacked their military.
Completely. I mean, they're just sacking the top. Why? Because their top people aren't on board. Their top people. Zelensky is simply...
Well, they're telling Zelensky, the actor, the gay porn star, you're losing.
Exactly. And
like Hitler firing generals in 45, it ain't working.
Exactly. These are people who know there's no sustainable Ukrainian future under Zelensky and the West's current agenda for Ukraine. So these are people that when they try to push back at all, even though they're deeply anti-Russian, many of these political, military, law enforcement leaders, they get sacked. Because they're unwilling to sacrifice their entire nation on the global altar of Bill Gates and George Soros and Klaus Schwab. And because they're not, and Zelensky's happy to, because Zelensky doesn't plan on being in Kiev 5 years from now. He plans on being in Hollywood 5 years from now, making movies with Angelina Jolie and Sean Penn and the rest of that crew. So that's where their agenda is. That's what
God, imagine wanting to run a collapsing Hollywood and that cesspit. These people are crazy.
But remember, this guy was the #1 listed guy in the Panama Papers release. This is a guy that had over $100 million stashed in various foreign bank accounts outside of Ukraine. I mean, basically, he literally was an actor. They came to him and said, pretend to be the president for 5 years, then we'll make you the president. When he gets in, he promises to bring peace. He reverses all of his promises because he's just...
Talk about brainwashing. They had like 7, 8 TV shows where he was the president ahead of it.
Completely. And in fact, that's all he did is he played the president for 5 years, and then they made him president. And all the oligarchs that sort of pushed him up on behalf of the West, as soon as he got in, he had to break all of his promises. Break his promise. I mean, he was at 15, 20% approval before this war started. He was a complete disaster of a leader. He's never cared about Ukraine. He is what they said Trump was, someone who didn't care, looking to use office to get rich. That's who Zelensky is. And that's where he plans on parachuting out of Ukraine. He rereads a different script each day. He doesn't even, sometimes he'll contradict himself within an hour.
And the great part is everybody gets this money laundering operation, and all the Hunter Biden stuff's coming out. What do you think of Hunter Biden?
I think Hunter Biden, we've known people like this. People that have grown up in extremely abusive families who are actually crying out for help by accidentally leaving things behind. You have the daughter accidentally leaving behind her diary. You have Hunter accidentally leaving behind his...
Oh, yeah, they're sabotaging themselves.
Completely. And I know people, when he's now, they've moved him to Venice. So the people in Venice are agitated. They had to move him from Malibu because his location got outed, because the Secret Service was all over the place and because he couldn't keep a low profile. He was there in one of those special Malibu drug rehabs, which are a complete joke. People can read Mark Robert's book about the nature of those rehabs. But they now moved him down to Venice to keep him on low key. I don't think it's a coincidence that suddenly his password gets breached and all this private information comes out. Right. Why is he tape recording himself doing a lot of these activities? This is somebody
who's blackmail his dad.
And to get out, this is someone in extreme pain. That's his behavior. Extreme pain, begging for someone to bail him out.
And the diaries and things say that.
Yes, that's what they confirm. Everything reaffirms this is someone who suffered such extreme abuse as a child from his own father that he is desperate for somebody to massively intervene in his life, because otherwise it is on a self-destructive path that will just burn out very quickly.
What happens to Obama's third administration, puppet Biden?
So I think Biden's already DOA. He's operating on different scripts on different days. They can't even keep him up. I mean, they renamed on Google Maps Brandon Falls for where he fell down. I mean, that's who the guy is famous for. So given the situation he is in and the position he is in, there's very little chance that he has any potential future. When what you're most well known for is falling down when you're walking up the stairs. I mean, we remember Gerald Ford and Saturday Night Live skits with Chevy Chase. He's doomed. He's DOA. He's on the clock. The only question is who replaces him.
We got some big news. The latest attack on free speech and the attempt to shut down InfoWars straight ahead. This is critical information. Please tell us.
All right, guys. Watching Your Freedom Rising. We are streaming Alex Jones live. Go check out Alex at InfoWarsStore.com and band.video. Guys, thanks for stopping by. Check us out on Rumble, YouTube, Twitch, Telegram. Definitely check us out, guys. What do you guys think about all the censorship? The fact that you can hardly say what you want to say on most of these platforms. YouTube is like walking on eggshells as far as talking about specific subjects, which are definitely important, I would say, having to do with our lives, our health, our government. So it's interesting to see what these big corporations will do right out in the open. I thought it was interesting to see after the Roe v. Wade got overturned, the big corporations that were openly coming out, wearing their own pride on their sleeve, and to support funding women to go to other states to have abortions. You know, stuff like that happens continually. You know, over and over, we see things like this happen. You guys remember Major League Baseball moved one of their biggest games out of Georgia when Georgia passed a law that required you to have voter ID in order to vote at the polls. So in order to just having an ID to vote triggers big corporations like the Major League Baseball into doing these kinds of things. So what do you guys think? Do you think they feel kind of strong-armed into the situation? Do you think they feel pressure from the left or the media? With the media controlling the narrative so much, I could see that perhaps Major League Baseball or some of these other big corporations, Amazon, that they would just couldn't handle the public shaming maybe of the media, which is most of the time lying. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe some of them are good people and they're just pulled into the narrative. I'm just trying to understand it, because from my perspective and of many people, a lot of these things are just completely absurd. And I think we definitely reached a peak, so to speak, when with the Roe v. Wade and just the amount of division on both sides, as far as people going two different routes, their beliefs and their actions and what they're standing by. And then you had the war in Ukraine. Everyone's flying the Ukrainian flag. The popular narrative on the mainstream media that Russia are the bad guys, Ukraine should be glorified. So more often than not, these people with this narrative glorify themselves, glorify people, rather than glorifying God. And so it does seem to be a direct attack on the church, on Christianity, on conservatives. So what do you guys think? This has been the conversation for a few years now. Surprisingly enough, there are still people buying into the narrative. So what's it going to take to wake people up? Hopefully things will get better before they get worse. We're definitely going to have to continue, pray, keep our minds focused on the truth, coming together, and family. This is Your Freedom Rising, streaming Alex Jones InfoWars
It's
live.
Alex Jones.
All right, we're about to cover something that is incredibly central to all of our futures, because they admit on MSNBC and CNN that InfoWars is the beta test. They also said, documents came out of the Wall Street Journal 4+ years ago, ahead of my deplatforming, that WikiLeaks was a model. They said if we can shut down WikiLeaks and shut down Alex Jones, the left wing and right wing will be silent until we can get them all.
Wow.
And so now we have judge orders Alex Jones to pay $1 million in fees to 4 Sandy Hook parents. So I'm found guilty before I have a trial, a default. Then they say pay $1 million. We put it to the appeals court. Within 1 day, they shoot it back, unprecedented. Usually takes 6 months. And we paid it. People say, well, why did you pay that? Well, she'll put me in jail. Why do you live in Austin? Well, my family's from here. We helped found the state. I live here. In hindsight, I'd have been in a conservative county. Believe me, we're going to try to get money and move out of here. But now they're like, oh, we're going to talk about white supremacism. So at this trial where I'm guilty, already found guilty, the judge, and her order is public, I'm going to show you the documents here in a moment, has said that I can't discuss free speech, I can't discuss show trials, I can't say I'm innocent. I have to come and say I'm guilty at a trial or she'll sanction me, and then she threatens all the lawyers who've been on the case off of it. So here it is. News Times. Judge orders Alex Jones to pay $1 million in fees to 4 Sandy Hook parents. We paid it because they'll put us in jail. That's where we're at. Alex Jones got $1 million in court fees over Sandy Hook. And they put Parkland lawsuits. We weren't involved in that. Texas judge orders Alex Jones to pay $1 million legal fees. And it goes on from there. Alex Jones ordered to cough up $100 million. Texas court denies Alex Jones' bid, sanctions delay bid. And it goes on from there. Then they come out and they say, denied. Court refuses Alex Jones' request to deny paying $1 million. And then they go on, Alex Jones' lawyers want to bar all mention of white supremacy. And we said to the court, hey, we have footage of me protesting the Klan. Sorry, can't show that. We're going to say they're white supremacists. They've designated their experts and said they're going to say I'm a white supremacist with no evidence, and then we can't respond. So they're not just saying I'm guilty to go to a jury. It's all rigged. Alex Jones doesn't want to talk about white supremacy. And it goes on from there. There's Vice. There's all of it. So talk about tanning a jury pool. Talk about rigging things. This is the model for everybody else. And it's so unbelievable. No one's ever seen this in U.S. history. But now the Democrats are saying their case against me is the model against Fox News, Tucker Carlson, Donald Trump, everybody else. Robert Barnes, you've been involved in this since day one. You've worked on the case. What is really going on?
Two things. One is that they built up a fake news narrative. The fake narrative was to blame you for everything that related to anybody who second-guessed what took place at Sandy Hook, but also, and we now see with Uvalde the importance of second-guessing what takes place in a school shooting environment. Because the initial narrative with Uvalde said that the cops didn't do anything wrong, the school officials didn't do anything wrong, nobody, no politician did anything wrong. In fact, now we know they did a lot wrong. We only know that because people were willing to ask questions that they're trying to use this lawsuit to suppress.
Wow.
You're not allowed to ask questions. That was part of it. Part two, the other part of it was the fake narrative was to blame you for anybody who second-guessed what took place at Sandy Hook, even though InfoWars, 99.9% of what InfoWars ever published or produced, said that what happened at Sandy Hook happened. It simply raised questions as to drug complicity, raised questions as to school official safety complicity, raised questions about why they were hiding information. We now know that the schools, though many of those kids would be alive today had the politicians done their job and used the money correctly. They need to keep all of that hidden and blame the gun instead. But that's not all. The next level template with this was to use this to suppress and censor dissident speech. And particularly, InfoWars has been the tip of the spear. Imagine if they had been successful. Imagine if InfoWars had not been here when the lockdowns occurred.
Wow.
Imagine if InfoWars had not been here when the mask mandates, and the vaccine mandates, and the business shutdowns, and the mass home arrests across the country took place. Would there have been major public protests? Because every public protest took place being led by InfoWars supporters and fans who listened to the audience, who listened to InfoWars. So their goal was to remove InfoWars and its audience from political and public participation, awareness, and knowledge. And it was to use this suit to do so, to try to censor and suppress independent media.
And so even though the evidence didn't matter, people ask, well, how are you, we're not supposed to tell the jury, why are you here hearing I'm already guilty? Now, how guilty? That's in her order, too. I mean, it's insane.
Completely.
She's got to hide what she did.
Absolutely.
She's so arrogant.
Well, if they had, I mean, here they are in Austin, Texas, one of the most liberal jurisdictions in America, one of the most pro-gun control jurisdictions in America, one of the most media-believing jury pools in America, and yet they were scared of even an Austin liberal jury hearing the actual facts of the case. Facts of the case that go counter to the media's narrative about this case. And so even the Austin courts and the Connecticut courts were too scared and terrified, and their lawyers and the other people involved were too terrified of even a liberal jury, a liberal Democratic jury pool, hearing the actual facts. Probably because those actual facts rebut rather than support the official and institutional narrative.
And the judge issues a order saying, don't talk about it in court.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically it's the Chicago 7 on steroids, because even the Chicago 7 was allowed to defend themselves on the merits. So here you're not only getting gagged like Bobby Seale, your own lawyers are not even allowed, and the jury's not even allowed to consider whether you're actually guilty or not. You are presumed and adjudged guilty without ever being...
You are guilty until proven how guilty.
Exactly.
Not innocent until proven guilty, not guilty until proven innocent, which is tyranny. You are guilty until proven how guilty, and you can't talk about how it's a kangaroo court. I mean, the arrogance, but they've got to win. They didn't find what they said, so they've got to do this.
Oh, it's all an endorsement at a court level. Because if they were in the right, factually, morally, and legally, they would not be rigging the game to fix the outcome.
Exactly.
They would be having a full, robust jury selection. They would be having a full debate and trial on the substantive merits. They would allow you to introduce all of your defenses. Go back and read the great Clarence Darrow closing arguments. Often they would go 8 days long, closing arguments in which he would talk about everything. Go back to Patrick Henry, give me liberty or give me death.
But no, let me show you. In fact, I've got it right here on the stack. We'll pull it out when we come back. We're going to do more on this tomorrow, because this is a big deal for the end of American freedom. We have the actual judge's orders right here. Okay? And imagine the media's discipline. This has been out for over a month. They won't cover this. Saying, it says no discussion of the First Amendment, no discussion that you're innocent. It says that. In your defense, you can't say you're innocent. And then they'll sanction the lawyers if they don't go along with that. Unbelievable, Robert.
Yeah, it's completely. I mean, it's Patrick Henry established in his "Give me liberty or give me death" closing argument defense to a tobacco tax charge. The jury was allowed to hear everything and decide both the facts and the law. So what has our system's response been to that? It's been for the court system to hijack the jury function, the jury role in these trials.
And tell the jury, this person's guilty, he can't talk. now get him.
Exactly. That's exactly what's taking place. And the fact that they have to do that even in Austin tells you how much they know that they would not win in an independent, fair trial. Impartial jury would not give them the verdict they want. They would rebut the verdict they want.
And then we've got Connecticut and these judges mirroring their rulings.
Completely. I mean, it's embarrassment. I've said Alex Jones is not on trial in these cases. The American judicial system is on trial in these cases. And sadly, the verdict so far is the American justice system is guilty of partiality and prejudice and the incapacity to enforce the law in these cases. And they don't realize it or recognize it or appreciate it. Hopefully, at some point, a higher court does something about it. But in the interim, they want to try to do everything they can to prevent the voice of Alex Jones from being heard and from anyone else becoming like Alex Jones. They're doing what they did to Julian
Assange. Send a message.
Exactly. They want to Julian Assange you.
Let's talk about that when we come back. I'm going to read to you with the documents. I'm not just telling you they said this. It's hard to believe they actually did it separately. We need funds to fight these 3 kangaroo courts because on appeal we'll beat them. Plus, it's going to blow up in their face politically. We're going to go into this. We're ready. We're going to win. But we need your financial support at InfoWarsStore.com. Get an Alex Jones is Right t-shirt. Get the new Alex's War film on DVD exclusively from us. Get 2,000 Mules. Get Body's Ultimate Tumor Formula finally back in stock 25% off. And the new Healthy Energy Fat Burner Pill that is totally healthy with amazing concentrates at the strongest levels out there. Diet Force, 40% off at InfoWarsStore.com. We're fighting hard. You asked us to fight. We're doing it. And we love you. All we ask is you keep us in the fight. InfoWarsStore.com. Support free speech. Support America. The tide's turning. Get Diet Force. Get Bodies. Get Alex's War. Get 2,000 Mules. Get an Alex Jones Right t-shirt at InfoWarsStore.com. And you're coming through, and I salute you and thank you. InfoWarsStore.com. Amazing job. You're not listeners. You're in the arena. You're activists. And you are powering our resistance. We'll be right back. Films are so important. They're so powerful. And the fact that Alex's War, a documentary about the 28 years of InfoWars, is #2 on the Apple Store right now. It's incredible on pre-sale. The DVD, the film hits theaters, all of it on the 29th. You can pre-order the DVD at InfoWarsStore.com. I didn't make the film, but we are selling the DVD. Alex's War, exclusively for pre-sale on DVD at InfoWarsStore.com, and that helps keep us on the air. Everybody needs Alex's War in their archive. It is a very powerful film, very cinematic, brought tears to my eyes. Alex's War, exclusively available, just went on sale hours ago at InfoWarsStore.com. Separately at InfoWarsStore.com. Diet pills are the #1 bestseller in supplements. We ever put one out. For years, we researched the best ingredients, no natural compounds that, in a healthy way, speed up your metabolism and help your immune system do the same thing, plus gives you a lot of energy naturally. Diet Force has the strongest concentrates of known patented compounds and natural compounds that just take your entire physiological system to the next level, particularly your immune system and, of course, at the same time, your metabolic system. You need to get Diet Force today to speed up your metabolism and more at InfoWarsStore.com or 888-253-3139. It's our newest product, 40% off, InfoWarsStore.com, or as I said, 888-253-3139. I want to thank you all for keeping us on the air over the years. Bodies, Ultimate Turmeric Formula, sold out for over 7 months. Highest level of humanoids.
You guys are watching Your Freedom Rising, streaming Alex Jones live. Yeah, what do you guys think about this? I think it's another thing that's absurd is the length of time they're drawing on this January 6th trials. I mean, we know it's a hoax, and it's just unbelievable how long they're dragging it on and on and on, as if we don't know any better.
Let me show viewers. We're going to be putting press releases out in the next few days. What they've done. And how it ties into the whole January 6th fiasco and more. We've been denied our fundamental constitutional due process rights to present a defense in Texas or Connecticut. Both Guerra Gamble in Texas and Judge Barbara Bellis in Connecticut have been denied us our First Amendment rights for allegedly failing to provide enough discovery, which we give him everything. Neither judge can deny that he responded to discovery, that his ruling was insufficient. The effect of these rulings, incredibly, is that you have been found guilty by two judges who never even held trials or had any evidence. And it goes on. They say that we cannot discuss the First Amendment, we cannot discuss that we're innocent, or say,
Wow.
it's a kangaroo trial. Mentioning the First Amendment or freedom of expression, those are quotes, arguing that the plaintiff's mental anguish was caused by Adam Lanza, the shooter, and not by your reporting. Can't say Adam Lanza killed the kids. I killed them. Asserting that plaintiffs have become prominent public figures by appearing on television, testifying before Congress, or giving TED Talks, publishing books, or selling merchandise. Arguing that our statements were not outrageous, suggesting the trial was in any way unfair. Folks, no one's ever done this in U.S. history. But the Democrats are losing. They're desperate. And here it is, plaintiffs' motions in limine. The judge approved it. And then they tried to get her to walk it back at pretrial. She said, well, I'm not sure. I'll see what I'm going to do. Here it all is. Travis County filed, overhead shot, please. This will all be published tomorrow. It'll all be out for everybody. Robert Barnes, you said this ties into January 6th. Closing comments on this. We'll be back tomorrow with us in the studio.
Even Soviet-style show trials would be embarrassed by what is taking place in either the January 6th hearings, the January 6th trials, or the Alex Jones cases in either Texas or Connecticut. It is a complete deprival and denial of basic core constitutional rights. It's an invention of law that in many cases doesn't exist, like the misapplication of the obstruction statute that's taking. Imagine a high-ranking lawyer was caught perjuring and falsifying and forging documents in order to illicitly spy on an American presidential candidate and his supporters, and he got no time in prison at all and got to keep his law license. By contrast, grandmothers with cancer are sent to prison for months in hardcore facilities in the United States merely for walking around the Capitol without the permission of Speaker of the House Pelosi.
These people are maniacs.
Completely. It is a complete denial. What took place in your case is a denial of First Amendment rights of association, denial of First Amendment rights of free speech, denial of First Amendment rights of free press, denial of Second Amendment rights to self-defense.
And they're saying I'm a white supremacist in the news, and I can't talk at the I'm convicted show trial, and they're going to say I'm a white supremacist to the jury, and we can't show me protesting the KKK, she said.
Oh, and some of these discovery orders really are in violation of the Fourth Amendment and the rights to protect against privacy outside of probable cause of a crime. Fifth Amendment deprival of your due process rights. Seventh Amendment denial of your jury trial rights, which are protected independently and separately under the Texas state constitution.
And then $1 million fines, so it shows how desperate they are.
Completely. This is an effort to rail. What I've said is January 6th and the Alex Jones trials look like 19th century Australia, all kangaroos and railroads.
Wow.
And that is precisely what it has been to date. And the question is, will the courts wake up to recognizing that they and their legal system of America is as much on trial around the globe as Alex Jones?
It's just like the corporate media's collapse and the FBI's collapse. They're just killing all their credibility forever.
Absolutely. They're exposing themselves. If they had confidence in the facts or the law or their moral narrative, they would want a liberal Austin jury to hear all the facts, all the evidence, and all the arguments. The fact they're terrified of allowing even that to occur tells you that even they know that they're in the wrong factually.
Robert, could you imagine, we'll be back tomorrow, that they would put in an order, you can't talk about free speech or say you're innocent?
It's extraordinary. All of it. I mean, all of it's unparalleled. Denial of your rights to bring anti-SLAPP motions, denial of your rights to bring motions to dismiss, denial of your rights to bring summary judgment motions, denial of your rights to appeal the denial of those rights in Texas and Connecticut, fundamentally and core.
We're going to do a lot of, you're going to be here in the next few weeks off and on. Got a lot of Texas cases with your big Pfizer stuff. Robert Barnes, thank you so much. We got 10 seconds. How do people find your show?
Sure. Then go to vivabarneslaw.locals.com.
Or just search engine Robert Barnes.
That's it.
And you're on Twitter. Great job, buddy. All right, Jacob Ingalls and the great Owen Schroyer coming in live to cover the waterfront. Stay with us.
All right, guys. What do you guys think? That's definitely sounds like a kangaroo court that Alex is talking about. It definitely sounds like a setup, cut and dry, against him. And it'll be interesting to see what could come of this kind of corruption in the judicial system. We're already seeing it in the January 6th trials, and what I can say is thank God for the Supreme Court for what they've done and what they're doing, that gives us at least a sign that there's some sanity, some truth, some justice left in the system. So perhaps some of this system can remain, although the corruption in the judicial system is becoming apparent with these kinds of show trials alongside media manipulation.
Crashing through the lies and disinformation, it's Alex Jones coming to you live from the front lines of the info war.
All you have to do is check out what I'm saying, and that's why they run the fake headline against myself and Tucker Carlson everywhere, every day. Jones admits he's an actor. Or Tucker Carlson says nobody would take me seriously. Where did we say that? We never said that. They just say we said that. But where's the clip? Where's the article? Where do we say that? Doesn't exist.
Alex Jones is playing a character and is a performance artist.
Jones is playing a character on his radio show.
The radio rants of Alex Jones are just an act.
He's actually a performance artist.
He's a performance artist. Alex Jones is a fake.
They're lying to you because they think you're stupid. And it's all based on a custody battle with my ex-wife 5 years ago. And she was trying to put into evidence me dressed up more than a decade before, like the Joker, being sarcastic, saying, take your Prozac, kids, take your illegal drugs too. You'll die, it's fun. So people wouldn't take drugs. And they wanted to enter that in evidence. They look, he's insane telling kids to use drugs. And my lawyer went, when Jack Nicholson plays the part of the Joker, no one thinks that's really Jack Nicholson. So yeah, when I've been Cobra Commander, Hail Cobra, or Optimus Prime, Autobots, let's roll, or the Joker, because I can do imitations of them all really good, or Darth Vader.
Don't act so surprised, globalist. You didn't think you could silence the American people, did you?
Do I really think I'm Darth Vader? No. Do I think I'm Optimus Prime, Cobra Commander, the Joker? No. And clearly, no reasonable person would think when I'm doing satire that what I'm saying is what I really think. No one believes the Babylon Bee. It's not trying to lie to you, it's being sarcastic.
Buy the Vaccinate the Elmo doll today. It's required by the CDC.
But they play those games. And that's why I don't joke around as much as I used to. Even though I tell people, okay, this is a joke, this isn't serious, they clip it out and they say, no, this is what he really believes. Every day when I leave work, I do this. That man's a threat to this country. And they go, look, he admitted in court he's an actor. Well, yeah, I was an actor in Scanner Darkly. I was an actor in Waking Life. I was an actor when I was Cobra Commander. But it doesn't mean that Alex Jones, the talk show host, up here reading news articles to you isn't a real thing and isn't something I'm actually saying, and you know that. You're insulted right now. I'm even explaining that to you, and so am I, but that's who these people are. You don't know the power of the dark side. Am I really Darth Vader?
I think Alex Jones seems really talented. He's smart. He's funny as hell. He's truly funny.
I'm kind of retarded. Now that I've done those imitations, those little jokes, do you now not listen to what I say about other things when I show you a powerful news article by Dr. Joseph Mercola on Infowars.com that has all the cited information, the latest tragedy, sudden adult death syndrome? No, that's a real thing. That's something happening in the real world. And that's what we're breaking down here today. I am Alex Jones, and I am the guy on this show every day. I am an American, and that's what I promote is freedom and justice and liberty, and they can't stand it.
Pesky Earth creatures.
I'm Alex Jones. The story you're about to see is truth. This is reality. Truth is stranger than fiction. I'm the most banned, most demonized media person in the world.
Alex Jones is a fake.
He's a performance artist.
I'm perceived as a clown, a nut, a maniac.
On his website, InfoWars, he touts
Paranoia porn. The sickest, most offensive theories.
Alex Jones claims that 9/11 and the Oklahoma City bombings were inside jobs.
Don't you stand for America, sir?
He said me and Hillary are demons. Ain't that simple?
You'll burn in hell.
I met him back in 1990. I knew right away he was going to be a star.
At Maryland. I saw all these conspiracy theorists that were talking about the New World Order. And I thought, that's what I'll do.
Hey, Alex. Death to the New World Order!
It was that attack on humanity that I saw early on that I really wanted to wage war on.
You're lying to the public. It's disgusting.
Once you taste that, there's no going back. Everything's a war. That's the way the universe works, and everything is propaganda.
I don't trust Donald Trump, but I agree with probably 95% of what Donald Trump says.
Your reputation's amazing. I will not let you down.
That's when the media took the gloves off.
Alex Jones said the Sandy Hook shooting, which claimed the lives of 20 children, was fake.
I try to tell the truth, and sometimes I'm wrong. Did the New York Times get in trouble for consciously lying about WMDs that then led to a war, killed tens of thousands in conflict? No. The attempts to deplatform us have failed. They have the CIA, the FBI following me around. Now we got to destroy Alex Jones. We're not playing games here.
This is such a historic moment together. USA! USA!
It's all just insane. Okay, let's put me in prison for questioning, okay? Even though that's my right. In fact, let's execute Alex Jones. Let's put him in front of a firing squad, pull the trigger. I have a sick feeling, actually, because I know what comes next. All right, we've got Jacob Engels, CentralFloridaPost.com, and Owen Schroyer with us riding shotgun for the rest of the hour. The War Room comes up at 3 p.m. Central today. Gentlemen, we have a lot to cover. It's great to have you here in studio with us, but wow, is our job not easy other than trying to stay on air with the censor? I mean, it's all happening. It's all out in the open. Great to have you both here. Each of you about a minute and a half. Jacob Engels, what would you call this period of time we're living in right now?
Hell. Hell on earth. I mean, we can't even speak about the most important things, freedom and liberty and truth. Truth is forbidden. Why can we not, as Americans, stand up to our own government, stand up to the corporations, stand up to the police state? And this used to be something that left and right agreed upon. And nowadays, it is a right wing. They call it fascism. They call it white nationalism if you want to stand up to the man, stand up and fight the power. And I just don't understand it.
I agree, Owen Schroyer.
Well, it's the Great Awakening versus the Great Reset. It's all out there. It's in front of us. Everybody can see it, at least anybody that's paying attention. Whether they like it or not, their gas prices are going up, their energy costs are going up, their grocery bills are going up, so they're in it, whether they want to continue to ignore it or act like it's not there. But there's also the Great Reawakening or Great Awakening that's happening right now. I mean, people tuning in to Band.video to watch our shows, to watch the other content creators that are on there. There's all kinds of activist groups rising up, organizations rising up, people hosting political events that are conservatives or Christians that wouldn't have been doing so in 4, 5, 6 years ago, but now are. So that's the Great Reawakening. But then there's the Great Reset, where we know the plan. And right now, the biggest lie to understand is man-made climate change, and knowing that that's just the excuse to shut off your energy, make it so you can't drive a combustion vehicle down the road to do whatever you want on your own time at your own accord. And that's what people are going to have to accept. And once they accept it, they can decide, well, maybe I want to live in poverty the rest of my life and then become sterile or infertile because that's part of the New World Order. Or I kind of like prosperity. I kind of like freedom. I kind of like what America set the standard for the world like in the 20th, 19th and 20th century. So maybe we should go back to that. But that's everything that's in front of us right now, I think.
That's right. And Jacob Engels, you've been persecuted with the Central Florida Post, exposing a gubernatorial candidate and the drug-fueled orgy and the rest of it. Where do you see this going, just in 30 seconds?
Well, I think we're on a collision course, a crash course in America. The two-party, it's not even two-party, it's the uniparty, like everyone's talking about. It's this system of control. And you can only push humans so far. you can only push us so far before we react. And it's our decision on how we react, and to do it in the right way and with courage and with liberty in mind, and we've got to stand up.
That's right. They want us to have a revolution that's violent and mindless. No, it's a revolution against the New World Order, against Bill Gates, against Klaus Schwab, against the Great Reset, and against all of their tyranny, identifying them as the authors of our despair. We'll be right back with Jacob Ingalls and the great Owen Schroyer straight ahead. The number one selling category in supplements worldwide is fat burners, is weight loss formulas. And listen, there are hundreds of them out there that work, but most of them do it in a toxic way. Ladies and gentlemen, we went out and did deep research on the safest, healthiest ways to take your overall body's metabolic system and your metabolism and turn that clock back by turning up your metabolism. Ladies and gentlemen, Diet Force does it in a clean, healthy way. It's amazing. I've almost lost 40 pounds in the last 3 months just using the samples of it. But now it's come into the InfoWars store and is ready for sale to you and your family exclusively at InfoWarsStore.com. Diet Force from X7, exclusively available at InfoWarsStore.com for 40% off. I want you to experience Diet Force for yourself. I can't wait for the reviews because it's worked great for me. Rob in Mississippi, you're on the air. Welcome.
Hey, Alex. Thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
So I'm just going to plug. I'm 54 years old. I had a life of working around animals and logging. Scars all over my arms, sunspots all over my arms. You plug a caller named Granny Do-Right that talked about her sunspots disappearing. 100% true. I've been taking X2 since the lockdown. And people, if you do not have X2, if you do not have Ultra 12 and vitamin mineral fusion when you can get it, something's wrong. You have got to get this stuff.
It's incredible. Dr. Group told me 10 years ago, when you take this pure deep earth iodine, I had sunspots. He goes, they'll go away. They went away in like a month. It is incredible what pure iodine does.
My shoulders were covered. They're almost gone.
The UN is obsessed with bombarding us with bad halogens, chlorine, fluoride, bromine. Clean iodine's the key, but so much iodine is bound to other elements to absorb it. This iodine does it. It's X2. Everybody should get it. It should be the one product we have, because everybody should have it. We'd fund the whole operation. InfoWarsStore.com. The globalists are doing everything they can to destroy heterosexual relationships, to annihilate the family, to split up marriages. And if you look at the studies, the number one cause of marriages breaking up is the fact that the men cannot satisfy their women in the bedroom. It's that simple, ladies and gentlemen. And even if you're like me and hardly ever have a problem, I mean, all of us at one point or another do. That's just the truth. The liberals will make fun of that, but everybody knows it's true. But whether you rarely have any issues or have them on a regular basis, Instaheart is the number one best-selling natural herbal supplement in the world when it comes to male enhancement, because it really works. It also gives you a ton of energy. And you can find it at theironpatriot.com.
It just gets old, man.
I'm going to shut you down right now, okay? We're taking calls about your nomination. Do you understand they're having congressional hearings trying to shut us down? Do you understand I'm ringing the alarm? If that was happening to anybody else, I'd be freaked out. I mean, what's it going to take? Us being shut down? Is that what you want, Frank?
You know what, Alex?
Hey, put him on pause again. Hey, Frank, do you understand it's not bragging to say we are the tip of the spear, we're under attack, we need your help? As much begging as I do, we can barely pay the bills and grow in the face of this. I'm not going to just stop growth and let them start pushing us backwards. You understand? I need your help, Frank. I need your help, Frank.
Go to InfoWarsStore.com right now and help fund the InfoWars.
Do you understand? I need your help, Frank.
You guys are watching Your Freedom Rising, streaming Alex Jones live. Thanks for stopping by. Feel free to drop by the chat. Hope everyone's having a good day.
Alex Jones.
Stopped into a church. I passed along the way.
I got down on my knees.
I got down on my knees.
And I began to pray. Now's the time for that, and it's time to stop being fake and admit we all have sinned and aren't perfect. And a perfect example of this is the corporate media and everything they're doing and trying to demonize lesbians in the Netherlands that Tucker Carlson had on, facing 5 years in prison for saying, no, men are men, women are women. A man can say he's a woman, but a man is a man, a woman is a woman. Two women can't have a baby in prison. But look at this latest stuff. There's a movement among some archaeologists to stop identifying human remains as male or female because we don't know how they identify. That's mind control. Here's the article out of the College Fix dealing with it. Then there's this. Transgender health secretary says Biden White House will empower children to get puberty blocker sex changes at age 8. That is a pervert class. I don't care if they're heterosexual, homosexual, who they are. Leave the children alone.
That's right.
Reddit bans anti-LGBTQ groomer slur. But the left is out grooming children. I don't care whether it's homosexual or heterosexual. UPenn nominates transgender swimmer Liz Thomas for NCAA Woman of the Year.
Wow.
This is the war on humanity. And so having our guest here in studio, Owen Schroyer and Jacob Ingalls. I've known about Jacob's work for at least 5 years. Great work at the Central Florida Post, breaking hundreds of major stories. But he doesn't wear it on an armband that he's gay. I don't run around and say, I'm a heterosexual all day long. And people say, well, a small minority, why are you having that guy on? We don't hate anybody. Jesus Christ hung out with the tax collectors and the prostitutes. And by the way, I'm not perfect. I'm not saying in my whole life of judging people. And what adults do, adults do. The point is what's going after children is the key here. And now they're banning major movements of whether it's people that are heterosexual, homosexual, pansexual, whatever it is, from saying we don't want to be associated with grooming children. That's who they're really scared of because they want to continue that movement on. So, Jacob, what is it like going to these anti-abortion rallies and being attacked and the pro-abortion rallies and being attacked, and then you never play that card on these people, but now they're trying to connect to anybody who has a different lifestyle to their pedophilic lifestyle. What is that like? And can you speak to this major anti-groomer movement that's particularly being headed up by gays and lesbians that don't want to be associated with kidnapping and raping children?
Yeah, I mean, Alex, when I go to these rallies, when I go to the abortion parties like Owen and I talked about yesterday on the show, I don't pull the gay card. I don't try and talk about, oh, I'm gay. I really let them kind of bully and push and pester me to the point where I eventually say, you know what? That's very homophobic. How dare you? How dare you question me? I'm gay. You can't question me. These are your rules. These aren't my rules. And then they get extremely nasty. They say, oh, we hope you get AIDS. We hope you get monkeypox. We hope you die. And I'm like, well, wait a second. I'm part of the LGBTQIA plus space alien community, but now it's not enough to be gay. You've got to go out and groom. You've got to share the porn in the schools. You've got to read the porn to your children. That's the current state of the LGBT community, and it really is sick. Hey, I want to do whatever I want. Leave me alone. It's my own personal life. I'm not going to affect you. But now is the time for people in the LGBT community to stand up and say, we're not going to groom children. This is sick stuff.
And polls show, though, the majority of folks that have alternative lifestyles do not support this.
No, and that's just a simple fact. What you do see, Alex, though, we have a group of individuals in Florida who are straight parents who have children, and they're coming to these school board meetings. When I expose genderqueer and I read it aloud, they're going on Facebook. One of them is...
Now, I should have pointed out, you've been particularly powerful in national news, local news, at the school boards exposing this grooming of children.
Yes. And when I expose that, the comments people send me, because I'm not allowed on Facebook anymore or on Twitter, the comments people send me from some of these individuals, I read it to my 6-year-old child. I read it to them every night. I love to read genderqueer. What kind of sick person?
It's pedophilic.
Yes.
It's a sick cult.
And what do we do? What do we do as humans? What do we do?
It's totally satanic. Owen, your view on this?
Well, there is a group now. It's called Gays Against Groomers, and they are having events. I think they got an event coming up later this month in July that I was talking about. So, yeah, most people that identify as gay or whatever, they don't want to be identified or in a group with these radical leftists. And Jacob, you know, you said earlier, it's like it's not even about whether you're gay or not now. I don't think it ever was.
It's about pedophilia.
It was always about far left-wing agendas, Democrat Party agendas, and then ultimately the bottom of the barrel when it comes to their sexual
And then
preference.
forming a sexual relationship with your child.
Which is what they want to do in the classrooms. Now, they tested this back with Bill Clinton with Jocelyn Elders when she went in front of Congress and she said, we need to reach our hands down your child's pants and teach them how to masturbate. That was like...
We need to reach down the baby's pants and touch them and show them how.
Wow, is that Jocelyn Elders back? All the way back, time traveling? So, yeah, but that was a little shocking back then, and people weren't really watching C-SPAN as much as they are now. So it was kind of just floated out there.
It's a long-term agenda.
It was kind of just floated out there. It's like, let's see what Jocelyn Elders, let's see her say it in front of Congress, see what kind of takes on. You could hear it. Obviously, he said, look at how crazy this is. In fact, I remember at the time, Rush Limbaugh was probably the major...
he played the clip over and over again.
Yeah, he was probably the major one to expose that.
Which, by the way, they censored so good, you can't find it.
Yeah.
I heard that clip 500 times in like 1993, 94. You cannot find it.
Yeah. Well, that's just, I mean, that's the new nature of the internet, trying to find things like that. You just can't. Whether it's, we were talking about in the break, like old Alex Jones videos, old promo videos you used to do that were viral. You can't even find them anywhere. But, you know, the farther left it goes with this, it's just people that are in the center are going to be called right-wing. They know they're not right-wing. They're probably maybe even liberals, but they're like, I have common sense. A man is a man.
Even Bill Maher says, stop grooming children.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is.
Well, Bill Maher, I mean, he's always been consistent on these issues. He's a Kennedy-era free speech, anti-war Democrat. And now to see all these liberals come after him and say, Bill Maher, he's a Christo-fascist. This is the biggest joke.
He supports our free speech.
Yes.
Well, look, when they want to ban that term groomer, you know that's because it's accurate. You know, that's why they want to ban it.
Well,
they know it's accurate.
What did I was reading some of the comments on this on Twitter and looking and seeing that. What about all the grooming groups like dog groomers and everything else on Reddit? They're gone.
You can't even say groomer.
Yeah, you can't promote
You're
your
just
dog.
banning every word there is.
Well, that's what they have to do. When you start rewriting language, I really don't understand. What are you going to do? I guess you're probably first, second, maybe some third grade. You're going through English grammar. You learn grammar. You learn about words and meanings. I mean, think about languages like Spanish, Italian, Portuguese. I mean, these are languages that are based off of gender in many ways. So when do we go back and just rewrite the language books and the English books? Because
Well, that's the news. They're telling police departments and the FBI crime lab and archaeology professors, you can't say a skeleton's male or female.
So that's
a cult.
So that's what I'm saying. So when is it I open? Let's say you open your kid's first grade English book. I still remember they had the graphs, and it's like, here's how you use they, and then here's the words how that follow they and them, and
subjugation.
And then here's the chromosomes.
Yeah. Is that gone now? What are they going to put?
No, they removed it. They actually said there's no chromosomes now.
How do you even learn English?
And there's no FDA approval for drugs. It's all just total anti-science garbage. We'll be right back. If you're like myself.
Wow. It's interesting, guys. I think we definitely have to stand up for the children, stand up for the kids. You guys are watching Your Freedom Rising. We are streaming Alex Jones live. I definitely think that this time in our lives, time in history, is going to be set as a turning point of when there were people who stood up for the children, and then there were people that did not. And so I just pray that we are a people and a nation that will stand up for the children, defend them, protect them from all kinds of evil, that God's plan for them would come to fruition, and that the truth would set them free. The truth of Jesus Christ on the cross.
Off. InfoWarsStore.com. Diet Force.
Guys, check us out on Rumble, Your Freedom Rising, YouTube, Rumble, Twitch. Definitely check those channels out, guys. Subscribe. Definitely using those channels as a fallback to YouTube. If anything were to happen with this YouTube channel, you guys can find me on Rumble for sure.
Disruptors that are in our environment. Obviously, I've been talking about it for 25 plus years, and there's so many chemicals that the majority of frogs in many industrial areas, even rural areas, are no longer heterosexual. They're, quote, gay now, and they're trying to have sex with their male frogs. That's just one example of what this bombardment is doing, not just to us, but animals. And all the studies are out there about what's happening to particularly men and how fast their hormone levels drop precipitously. A man in the 1950s, when he was 50, 60 years old, had higher testosterone than a 20-year-old man today. Those studies are out there. It's insane. Now, I personally don't have a problem when it comes to being able to carry out my husbandly duties. But at the same time, hey, adding a little kick to it is always great for your wife and obviously for yourself. So I was doing a lot of research, quite frankly, on looking at other top brands that have the best ratings and making our own version even better. And I went and told my developers to reach out to this company a few months ago, and they said, wait a minute, reach out to this company. They just reached out to us 2 days ago, and here on the desk is a file. The owner's a big fan and would like to be your sponsor because he's heard about you needing to raise funds and things and really wants you to research the product. So I brought them a file on Instahard, and they had a file on Instahard in the meeting. It totally blew folks away. Ladies and gentlemen, this is amazing, and in my personal experience, it works way better than the pharmaceuticals out there that supposedly do the same thing and doesn't make you see double or see blurry. Because quite frankly, I've tried some of those other prescriptions, and it just makes you not a very good time, in my personal opinion. This is the opposite. No side effects except a lot of energy. So I wouldn't take this at 10 o'clock at night if I was you. Because I took some about 7 o'clock at night a few weeks ago and couldn't sleep all night long. It was great, but I couldn't sleep. So it also had that effect. So in closing, it's very important that you go to theironpatriot.com and watch the free informative videos and read the material there, because this really is a game-changing product. Instahard, exclusively available right now at theironpatriot.com, and it supports the broadcast. This is a 360 win for everybody. Theironpatriot.com, and get your Instahard today.
Leading a frontal assault on the lies of the New World Order, it's Alex Jones. Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want to stop tyranny? Well, so does he. Live from the Infowars.com studios, it's Alex Jones.
So the social engineers, the behavioral psychologists, the globalist controllers, they have a real paradox to deal with. They're saying we're cutting your power off to make you transition, but there is no transition. But the Russians did it. And, hey, there's no pedophiles anywhere, but we want access sexually to your children, and they're all getting busted being pedophiles. And the list just goes on and on. They're wrecking society, they're destroying things. It's obviously an evil spirit. Mm-hmm. But Owen Schroyer, how did it get organized, and how do we stop it, and what do you expect them to do next?
Well, I mean, there's a lot to unpack there. I think when we just neutrally observe this Biden administration, you've never seen a bigger cast of clowns and freaks and geeks ever. And I want to be clear. I don't really care, honestly. I get along with everybody. I've been around to, different types of clubs and bars. I've seen it all.
But it's men in dresses with shaved heads and men dresses women in admiral outfits. I mean, it's clown world.
Yeah, I mean, you're not sending these people to foreign diplomatic meetings. You're not sending these people to be representatives of your country, and that's fine.
This is what you do if you want to discredit your country.
Yes. So when we're sending men dressed as women to France last week for foreign diplomatic meetings, and it's literally a dude in drag with a bald head and big red lipstick on and high heels in a dress, and then it's Rachel Levine, Mr. Potato Head.
Yeah, guys, show the head of the atomic the nuclear waste with Rachel Levine. I mean, the photos of them, and then they're talking about we want access to your children.
So when does it get to the point where people just look at a photo of the Biden administration or whoever it is next, and it's a clown show. I mean, it's literally like, oh, is this the circus? Is the circus in town? The Ringling Brothers coming around here? What do we have here? Oh, no, that's the U.S. foreign delegation.
They're not just clowns. They want access to your children.
So, yeah, and there was also another Biden appointee at the U.S. Postal Service that just got busted as a pedophile in a sting operation. He was on video admitting all of it. So, you know, but even Gillum, I mean, look at Gillum. He's got like Hunter Biden.
Look at these people. What the hell? I'm in charge of nuclear waste. I'm in charge of your children. I want to talk to your children. I'm a man in an admiral outfit.
They're not sending their best. They're not sending their best.
I think Gillum is kind of like Hunter Biden, though. I mean, that was almost...
I like how he leaves the hair on the legs. That's always a... Plus, they say they're women, and they look as hideous as possible.
Oh,
like Blair White looks like a woman, doesn't want to go after kids. Great, you're a free person. Why don't they people like Blair White? Because they won't work for him. Why is it ugly men that look like total space aliens that want access to our children?
There's a mental illness that runs deep here, Alex. It runs deep, is what it is.
But why is it on top? Why is it demanding we follow it?
I think they're just so out and out about it. They're throwing it in our face. It's almost like they're taunting us, like the bully in school. They're pushing you to react.
Yeah. Flicking you in the ear, giving you the wet willy. I mean,
guys, we had the clip yesterday and didn't play it. Can we get the Undersecretary of Health clip ready where he's talking about we need to help your children cut their testicles off?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we want to empower transgender youth, I believe was the quote.
The Dr. Weenie Chop, I think people are calling it.
Oh, you know, they banned Marjorie Taylor Greene from Twitter because she said weenie chop.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, they are. Like, if I went to the doctor, like I joked around last week, and I said, when I say I'm going to cut my finger off the audience to show my commitment, hypothetically, I said, I'm not going to really do it. I said that clearly in the same sentence. I said, that'll be horrible. They'll slam him in safe to be arrested. But if we want to chop your 8-year-old son's genitals off, it's good. And they edited that out and said, he's crazy. He wants to cut his finger off. Well, what if I actually have people that are like identified as ambulatory? They cut their arms and legs off, actually. It's a big thing.
It's mental illness. But when it's liberal and LGBTQIA plus, it's empowering. Yeah.
You have to accept it. You have to worship it.
Yeah. So I forget this guy's name. Well, what's the Rachel Levine?
Rachel Levine.
Yeah.
All right. So here is a dude in an admiral outfit who says, "I am an admiral," and saying, "I want access to your children." Here it is.
Wow.
We really want to base our treatment and to affirm and to support and empower these youth, not to limit their participation in activities and sports, and even limit their ability to get gender affirmation treatment in their state.
I love how they play the word games too. Gender affirmation. You want a little gender affirmation? Look down your pants.
What do you call this new thing? I see here where they say it's a dude, but they dress like a clown or a bald head. Like, I'm a woman. I look like a space alien.
I don't know.
Roswell.
I don't know what the old nuclear dildo identifies as. That might not be a man or a woman. I think that's a puppy kink.
No, it is the puppy. I think that's why he shaves his
head.
It's probably better to get the...
Yeah. You were a dog at once, Alex. Remember that?
Sure. But I said I was transzoological.
You were the original transzoo. You might have inspired Sam Brinton. Have you ever thought of that?
Well, hey, guys, which clip is it of the girl that says she's a cat? This is a huge phenomenon. They confirm public schools are putting cat boxes in the bathroom so the kids can grab in a cat box. I mean, you talk about a cult.
I mean, I knew they were putting feminine products in the men's room now. They're putting kitty litter boxes in there?
Yeah.
Stop it.
That was in Michigan.
Wow.
That was Michigan, I think.
Yeah. Let's go. It's Michigan. Let's play this lunatic. Here she is.
Teaching you guys some ways that my friends and I meow to one another to communicate when words just seem a little too difficult. So, here we go. Okay, so first off, we have the normal meow that we just use mostly to get each other's attention. Meow. Okay, then we have the dissatisfied meow. An angry meow, but we only use this one on rare occasions because overall we're a very happy kid and family. And the happy or content meow. Meow. Okay, then one of the most important ones for our kid and family is the I want to go potty meow. It took me a really long time to master this meow because it needs to be really specific. in order for my kittens to understand. Okay, this is the most important meow for me, and it's the I need help wiping meow.
Oh my gosh.
You need help, all right.
And last but definitely
That's
not
all
least,
perverts,
these
scandalogical
are
stuff,
in
man.
heat meow, and we use this when we need a little bit more special kitten attention, if you know what I mean. Meow.
Yeah, I don't want to give you any meow attention.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Meow, 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 meow.
Yeah, that woman's
meow,
turning
meow.
me something. I mean, what the hell's going on here?
Well, I love how there were rules, though. You know, she laid it out. She gave us, you know, she had some conditions. She thought this all through. I mean, she was mastering the meow.
And they're not on any drugs.
No. That's a totally sober individual.
Very soon, there'll be entire college courses dedicated to this. I hope you know.
Oh, there already is.
Oh gosh.
Can she speak to cats though? Is it a? Is it a universal meow? Or are there you know?
Are there different
language
dialects?
barriers?
Do tabbies meow different?
Are there accents?
But I mean, this is the mass mental illness. I remember 10 years ago, I first heard at major colleges, people got upset they had Play-Doh and toys. That's real.
Well, it'd be one thing. The world has always had crazy people. They didn't used to drive the bus. They didn't used to run the asylum. They didn't used to run the universities.
They used to run the nuclear waste.
They didn't used to run the most dangerous and powerful aspects of our civilization.
Well, and you think about it, people who used to behave like that, you know, hey, that's just crazy Bill, crazy Jenny, you know, they were just kind of like, hey, leave them be, you know, they're just doing their thing.
Yeah, he just goes home.
Forgot about Al, my God.
Yeah, he goes home every night, shaves his head bald, puts red lipstick on, and, you know, thinks he's a dog. Yeah, well, he doesn't bother anyone.
I mean, he runs the nuclear.
Yeah, he's handling the nuclear. Oh, got you. Oh boy. Okay.
And somebody made a good point about you're trying to be a woman, you want to be a woman, and the outfit didn't even dress lady. It didn't even make sense.
Oh, they make it hideous on purpose. You see these drag queen story times, the kids are recoiling. Looks like they look scarier than It the Clown.
They look like demons.
But they're twerking for freedom.
Yes.
That's right.
TRM.
I mean, dude, that is a clown. That is a demon clown. Doesn't look like a man, doesn't look like a woman, the most unattractive thing on earth, in charge of the news. We'll be right back. Infowars.com. Stay with us.
Can he meow, though? Because you know what a meow.
Everybody that's watching this needs to support Alex Jones, needs to support InfoWars and Band.video. You know, the Bible says, let another mouth praise you. I'm going to do that right now. Alex Jones has helped so many people in this industry. You guys have no idea how many people have got their first start, like Savannah Hernandez. How many people have just been put on a launch pad to outer space because of Alex Jones, including myself. I've been given so many opportunities because of this man and because of this platform. And I would probably not even be half of where I am right now if it weren't for Alex Jones. I mean, I've been able to be on podcasts with Alex and Joe Rogan and Timcast, the Super Timcast IRL. Listen, what I'm saying is, do not take Alex Jones and Band.video for granted, because you don't know what you have until it's gone. We need to support free speech systems right now. So go check out the store, go support their store, go support InfoWars, leave a donation right now. Don't wait until they're gone.
We brought the game-changing product, previously only available to major oil companies around the world, to the civilian market 2 years ago, the BioPros, for septic tanks, for porta potties, for RVs, for your drains, your boats. It goes on and on. It'll eat the oil off of your driveway if you just add water. But it's been so successful now.
You guys are watching Your Freedom Rising, streaming Alex Jones live. Here in about 15 minutes, we will be streaming a video by Black Wolf talking about no more third terms. Talks about we the people setting the term limit for politicians ourselves at the polls. So thanks for joining in, guys. Feel free to drop by the chat. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hope you're all having a good day.
Made America, powered by God's great creation. It is amazing, and it funds the InfoWar. Everybody knows that turmeric is an incredible compound that God gave us. For thousands of years in India and around the world, they've known that it does incredible things for people's stamina, their energy, their libido, their immune systems, everything. And the average turmeric that's sold in stores is just raw turmeric. It's about 5% curcuminoid that is the active ingredient in turmeric. So about 4 years ago, I reached out to some of the top labs in the U.S. and I said, what is the strongest turmeric? I want that. They came back, it's 30%, it's 20%, it's 40%. One big top lab said, we're 75% curcumin. We said, well, can you not go higher? They said, no one's ever gone above 75%. And I said, but that's the active ingredient. They said, yeah. I said, how much more money is it to do that? They said, a couple dollars a bottle. And I said, what's the highest level extract of turmeric concentrate you can do? They said, we think we do about 90%. They came back a month later, they said, we have lab tested, we have the studies, 95% curcuminoid. This is the strongest turmeric on the planet. And it's got a bunch of other key natural compounds and enzymes that help the body upload it and supercharge it. You want to boost your immune system? You want to boost your stamina, your libido? You want to have massive inflammation reduction? This is it. My wife plays a lot of tennis, lifts a lot of weights. She gets aches and pains. She takes turmeric for pain. She took this and said, why is this weaker than my regular turmeric, but it works better? I said, because it's raw turmeric, higher milligram, not concentrated turmeric. It blew her away. Body's Ultimate Turmeric Formula, sold out for 7 months, is now back in stock, exclusively at 25% off at InfoWarsStore.com. Experience true curcuminoid power at InfoWarsStore.com and keep InfoWars on the air.
Leading a frontal assault on the lies of the New World Order, it's Alex Jones.
We really want to base our treatment and to affirm and to support and empower these youth, not to limit their participation in activities and sports, and even limit their ability to get gender affirmation treatment in their state.
Not just a man in a dress, but a man in a Star Trek Admiral outfit wants to have a sexual relationship with your children, not just have sex with them, but to cut their testicles off or cut their breast off.
Isn't it amazing how you read books like 1984 growing up, or you see some of these movies, and it seems so far-fetched and impossible, but now here we are. I mean, look at that little 30-second clip and the complete projection, lying, reverse reality that happens. She says,
"We want to protect your children.
Yeah, we want to empower the youth, really, by genitally mutilating them." What? That's empowering. Chop your balls off.
They're empowering the sick parents. They're empowering the perverted school teachers. That's who they're empowering.
And Jacob, you're right. It's the sick liberal parents that go, our 4-year-old, our 3-year-old says they're a girl or a boy when they're the opposite gender. I mean, what's sickos?
I mean, just look.
I mean, look at that.
I mean, come on. And then gender affirmation.
Revolting people. I mean,
it's an offensive thing. It's all about being publicly offensive and walking around in that state where you can be just
and saying, I'm going to have a relationship with your children. We have all the videos. We're going to groom your kids. Period.
It's a conquering technique, is what it is. It's a psychological conquering technique where they know they shouldn't be.
Oh, I mean, look. I mean, that looks like that looks scarier than It the Clown. I mean, you could have that person in Rob Zombie's new horror movie.
Yeah. You don't think she's beautiful?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, good one.
Stunning and brave.
Gender affirmation. Courage. By telling kids they're not the gender they are. That's gender affirmation. It's by telling them they're something they're not. And that's what.
Well, I mean, I'll just say it. These are the pedophile generals. They are the field marshals of pedophilia.
Well, yeah, you've got Pedo Pete, apparently, in the White House. You've got now Judge Jackson on the Supreme Court, who's big.
Does have sex with kids?
Big claim to fame is protecting pedophiles. So,
well, I mean, let me ask you both then, shifting gears, or you can keep going on this if you want. What's the big picture? What's front and center for Jacob Ingalls and Owen Schroyer?
Well, I think we stay on this topic for a second. Owen and I discussed it on yesterday's show. You have the people like Richard Levine, you have Judge Jackson, but you have these judicial candidates and individuals across the country who defended pedophiles in private practice who are running for circuit court judge. And that's how you get started. So it's not just on the Supreme Court. It's not just in the White House. It's in your local communities. And we've seen what's happening in the school boards and the county commissions, but people really need to research the individuals running for local judge.
So Epstein's kind of the top of the pyramid, but as you go below, this is how they recruit and control.
Yeah. And
oh, yeah, teachers were serially giving preteen students puberty blockers behind parents' back. I mean, that is criminal beyond belief. And now it came out the CDC directs elementary students to secret chat rooms about changing their gender. I mean, damn. You put your child in a public school, you're crazy. And a lot of private schools are doing it.
No, in the private schools, that's one thing people do not realize. The private schools are doing it just as much as the public schools. And that's even more concerning. Could you imagine forking over $20K a year and then finding out they're doing that to your kids?
Well, they make it financially beneficial to do it. You get grants, government grants, contracts. You know, you get a better deal on your Microsoft or Apple package.
Which, again, let's talk big picture. We know it's a bunch of mentally ill pedophiles at the bottom and the administration, but the globalists admit it's about depopulation.
Well, that's why, Alex, to go to the larger question, I do draw back from this issue, and I think that, and if anything is the biggest story to actually get people to understand where the world is going, if we continue to embrace centralized government, corporate government, and just further remove ourselves from the Bill of Rights and the Constitution, I think the one that people can understand is the climate change issue. And obviously a lot of people still believe it, but it's one of the easiestly debunked theories. It's one of the easiest things to debunk, when it was man-made global warming or now it's man-made climate change. It's one of the easiest things to debunk. And we're kind of in the opening phases now of people actually getting a taste of what these policies are going to do. Yeah, your grocery bills are going to go up if you didn't have groceries available at the store. You're not going to be able to afford gas.
They're banning cows all over the world.
This is really kind of the backbone of the entire New World Order. This is really the backbone of the depopulation, eugenicist New World Order. It is convincing people that man-made climate change is the biggest threat to the future, and then signing the whole planet onto policies that are going to depopulate the planet. And so I think this is the time where people can understand it. It's an easy thing to debunk. But even if they deny it now, things continue the way they are.
No, that's right. We warn them now, they're going to listen later because they're just now sinking their teeth into us.
Yeah.
Well, and we talk about now how they're trying to manufacture these meats that have human DNA in them and have, human content. And
it's all just evil.
It's all evil, but they preview this stuff. You talked a lot about this, Alex, where they put it in movies, they put it in TV shows 10, 20, 30 years before to normalize it, to get it in your brain. So then when you see it, you're just like, oh, okay, I guess that's happening. And you're not outraged because you've been programmed.
And how are we different? I'm not saying we're amazing or something, but the more they try to program me, the more I get away. Other people, I guess they're unconscious, it just programs them. How do we get people to shift out of just being programmed and see what's happening?
There's the difficulty is because a lot of people are lazy, Alex. They want to leave. They want to leave an easy and lazy life. But even though the desire for some people to live easy, lazy lives, their desire to still be in control of their life, I think, will trump that in the long run. So it's getting them to understand, hey, look, I get it. You really think you can get free money. You really think the government can run your life and all this crap. Even if you ever got close to that pipe dream that will never exist, you'll be a total slave. And so if they ever figure that out, then maybe these people.
No, that's it. The whole thing is about being a chump and buying into a scam, thinking you're smart. No, it's hellish.
That's why
globalism is pure death.
That's why I look at the college loan forgiveness thing as one of the dumbest things ever. Because, for example, all these Democrats writing bills to pass student loan forgiveness, they're all in debt. They just want free money at the end of the day.
Let's talk about that. And I'm having an Alzheimer's moment here, early Alzheimer's. Who's going to come on the show, but he's coming on soon? Who's the famous guy that does the great little 3-minute breakdown of people take the shot that doesn't protect them? He was going to come on the show, guys. Jim Brewer.
Oh, the comedian?
Yeah, there's a 2-minute clip we have, but Rob Dew had the full clip. So, man, on video. Get Jim Brewer ready for the start of the next hour, 6 after. because he says it all and he illustrates it. Have you guys seen the new
comedy special?
Harrison Smith clip?
Yes, that's correct.
He did one that went super viral, 20 million views or whatever. This was only got like 1 million views. It needs to get seen where he actually uses their own quotes about the vaccine. I mean, isn't that the best example, Owen or Jacob, of how people think they're getting a good deal, but it's a total lie, and how the deeper they get in, they won't admit it?
No, and I think to some respect, they have bought in to those policies and to those programs, and nobody ever wants to admit they're wrong. So, you know, you've made 100 bad decisions, and you realize the past 50 of those 100 decisions were horrible, but it's their whole persona. It's their whole aura.
And I'll say this. When I was younger, I didn't know I was wrong. Being an adult means you admit you're wrong, so you change it.
Yep.
Even when you know you're wrong, it's hard to change. They won't even admit anything's wrong.
No, and the easy, free lifestyle that Owen's talking about, I think, you know, it sucks what's going on with gas, what's going on with food prices, but maybe that's what they need, the financial wake-up call of...
No, I agree, but they're going to use that crisis to force them the universal basic income and even deeper slavery.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and that's why it's such a catch-22 right now, because part of you is kind of looking at this like, hey, if you don't know what's going on now, if you're not politically aware and awake and informed now, then I mean, how much worse does it have to get? I mean, how much, you know, wide open borders, shutting our energy off. What else? But see, that's the thing is, people. Here's what people like, Alex. Oh, there's a virus? What a perfect excuse for me to stay inside for a month, watch Netflix, and the government's going to cut me a check. And anybody that's going to get in the way with that is obviously my enemy. And it's like, no, I understand. Maybe I'm asking you not to be a lazy bum, but...
Well, you just set the precedent to be obsolete and not essential, and for this to come permanently.
Exactly.
And that's a badge of honor for them, though.
They're like a fish, though. Like a dumb bass would see a worm in the water and think it's good. A smart bass comes up and looks and says there's a hook.
Yep.
That's the older, bigger bass. The little dumb ones, it's easy to catch little fish because they don't know.
I got to say something, though, before we end this hour. I'm rethinking my entire wardrobe going on air, and I'm thinking the track jumpsuit. I mean, he looks
well, they're already Russian Asians.
He looks so good and comfortable. I kind of want to put a tracksuit on and do a
Hold on, guys, we're going to come back for a little while, and then we've got Wayne Allen coming up. Third hour straight ahead, fourth hour straight ahead. I live one of the most stressful and intense lifestyles you can in the world. I study the globalist crimes, and I fight them basically 16, 17 hours a day, while at the same time having to fund and run the InfoWars operation. It is something that will definitely turn your hair gray. So I don't claim I'm the paragon and the bastion of health.
All right, guys. You're watching Your Freedom Rising. We have been streaming Alex Jones. We're about to air the video of Black Wolf. # no more third terms. So thanks for stopping by, guys. Check us out on YouTube, Twitch, Rumble, Telegram. Shout out to the chat. Thank you guys for hanging out today. We've been had, Black Wolf, everyone else in the chat. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Appreciate your participation in the chat and the conversation. So you guys, you're watching Your Freedom Rising. In about 1 minute, we're going to air Black Wolf, # no more third terms. So shout out to Let Freedom Ring, and shout out to the Tommy Temper Show. Anybody restreaming, shout out to you guys. We are about to air Black Wolf, # no more third terms. And here we go, guys.
Good morning, good morning, good morning to everybody. This is going to be short and sweet. We're going to talk about # no more third terms. In the past, Congress and Senate were given a small amount of money to live on to kind of substitute for the lack of being able to do their jobs, you know, their own careers and and things like that. You know, whether they had a regular job or they owned a business or whatever. It was meant to compensate them for the loss during that time, because what was supposed to happen was they were supposed to leave their job, come do the job of the Congress or the Senate, and then go back to doing their job. That's why the amount of money that was supposed to be paid to them was a small stipend, because you couldn't afford to keep going on it. At that point, what you do, they would have enough time on the money that they had saved up, and on the money with the money that they'd saved up and the money that they were getting paid to be a congressman or a senator. They would be able to last 2 terms, 1, 2 terms, and then they would go back to their regular lives. That's how that was supposed to be set up. That's how it was set up. So in a way, there were term limits built in, even though it wasn't really a term limit. Now, we all know that there is no way that you are ever going to get any politician to write a bill, sign on it, and pass it through that puts term limits on Congress and Senate. Of course, they did it for the president. Oh, yeah. Sure, we can't have a president that does 3 or more terms, right? We can only do 2 terms on a president. So we'd never had one do it, but they were afraid that it would happen. So, because we'll never get them to put the term limits in place on themselves, it's time for us to use our vote as a term limit.
Here we go.
Hashtag no more third terms means it doesn't matter if they're left, doesn't matter if they're right, it doesn't matter if they are part of the flying spaghetti party. Doesn't matter what party they're for. If they have had 2 terms, do not vote for them again.
Here we go.
Not in that seat. They can have 2 terms as a senator and 2 terms as a congressman. That's fine. They can have 2 terms in a city council. That's fine. 2 terms on a school board. That's fine. You know, county seat, 2 terms. Fine. As long as they're not running in the same exact seat. Do not vote for any politician that has had 2 or more terms in that one seat. That is no more third terms.
Okay.
That is a start.
Yes.
That is what we need to do to start to make a change in this country. Period. End of story. The other thing that I'm noticing, or that I have noticed, there really aren't any parties. You have this side saying, okay, we've got all these great things for the people of the country that we're going to try to pass through. But then this side says, oh, no, you're not. So it never gets passed through. Same on either side. Both sides end up having good things that they can't get passed through. Well, all the bad stuff, both sides seem to pass through.
Right.
So, in my opinion, there are no parties. It's one agenda that they keep pushing through.
Yeah.
One agenda. No parties, one agenda. So, with that being said, when it comes time for you to vote, don't bother voting for just somebody in your party. Do not vote for anybody that has had 2 terms in that seat or more. Do your research.
Yeah.
Look deeply into the people that are running for those seats. And pick the one that has not had 2 or more terms and best fits what you want to see for the future of the country, in your opinion. Make your own educated vote. Look at their track records. Everything on them is public record. You can look at what they voted on, how they voted. You can look at what kind of agenda they've been backing. You can look at everything and make your choice based on that, not based on party.
Right.
And definitely do not vote for any politician in any way that has had 2 terms or more in that one seat. Period. It is time for us to be the term limit.
Yeah.
Because we know they won't do it.
Take the power back.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
They act like they have these parties and this party is against this party and they won't work together. That's all garbage.
Yeah.
That's all a show.
Mm-hmm.
They are the best paid actors in the world.
Right.
Especially in the media. Because they get up there and they make a grand gesture. Oh, yeah, I agree with this. We need to fight this and we need this law passed. Guess what? When push comes to shove, they don't show up to vote. Or they abstain from voting. And their law that was supposed to be good for the people doesn't get passed. Both sides are passing one agenda, but leaving the people behind. Because they're busy lining their pockets on what that one agenda is paying. Because we, the people, aren't paying them what they're getting paid to push that one agenda. The lobbyists, the outside interests, all of that money that keeps coming in, whether it be legal or not. How do you think a senator or a congressman is now a multi-billionaire?
Right. On
such a small pay, right?
Right.
Like I said, no more third terms. Hashtag no more third terms.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put it up in here. Hang on. And while I'm doing this, hashtag no more third terms means no more voting for any politician that has had two terms or more in that one seat. I'm serious. This needs to become a major push.
Yes. Let's do this, guys. Take the power back.
This video needs to be shared out.
Yep.
On a massive scale. Everybody needs to share this video. Everybody needs to watch this video. And when you share a copy of this video, make sure when you're posting it to somewhere, make sure to put all the information down about what I'm talking about. And then put down hashtag no more third terms, exactly like I just posted it in the chat.
All right.
Make sure, especially on Facebook, start hammering Facebook with it. And we need to get it out there. Hashtag no more third terms. Other than that, we do need to do the Convention of States. Everybody needs to look at that. Google it. Research it. Convention of States. If you haven't signed up on it already, you should. But until we get the Convention of States actually out there and doing what we need it to do, hashtag no more third terms is a good first step.
Yes.
Stop voting for any politician that has had 2 or more terms in that one seat. That's plain and simple. You can run for 2 terms. You can serve 2 terms as a board member on the school board, and then you can serve 2 terms on the city council, and then you can serve 2 terms on in a county seat, and then 2 terms in the Congress, 2 terms in the Senate, so on. That's called working your way up, right? That's okay. But if they've been sitting in that same seat for at least 2 terms and they want to run for that seat again, don't vote for them.
Right.
Hashtag no more third terms.
Right.
Hope you all have a beautiful day. This video needs to be put out there. Everybody share, share, share. Like, subscribe, and share. Have a beautiful day. Let's get America back.
All right, let's go. All right, guys, that's Black Wolf on YouTube. I'm going to post a link to that video in the chat, guys. Right there it is. Hashtag no more third terms. Yeah. Let us know what you think, chat. I think that was good. That was a really good one from Black Wolf. He's been asking me to watch it and share it, and now we did. I think that's good stuff. I think it's just empowering just to realize that we have the power to set our own standard. We the people, the voters, the taxpayers. And that we can take the power back in this country. Shout out to Black Wolf. No problem, brother. Thanks for dropping by the chat. You've been coming by on our streams, and really cool to see people coming by, dropping in the chat, a collaboration, people coming together that we're sharing information, and I just love it. Love seeing people come together, that we can network and build community. I think that's the main thing the enemy hates, is people coming together and community. And I think that's what we're being called to do, is create a community of people that love people, that care about people, that lift one another up, support one another, just like we're helping each other out with sharing these videos, stopping by each other's chats. Unite America. That's right. JN, that is right. So you guys are watching Your Freedom Rising. Hashtag no more third terms. We just watched Black Wolf's video, and now we're going back into Alex Jones' InfoWars.
To accelerate a little bit, because look, the average American out there is a good person, but the bread and circus still goes on.
So you guys are accelerationists?
I'm really not. I really don't like to think this way, but
because I've been trying to stop this, but then I get your point once we get here.
It's just when you try to sit down and really talk it out, I understand that the acceleration.
I've been a decelerationist.
Well, I mean, I would say, if anything, we're just to outright pump the brakes. Let's pump the brakes on eugenics for a little bit, maybe. We should stop that. Maybe pump the brakes on Satanism for a couple decades.
Exactly. We're jamming the brakes to the floor.
Yeah, but it's getting to the point now where it's like, all right, we've been prepared.
No, I agree. That's where I've got now. It's almost a sense of peace. I'm like, I tried to stop this, and...
Well, but also, you have to showcase the insanity and the absolute absurdity of it all. And so that's why I think I'm in favor of accelerating it, because the more and more we let them push forward and get weirder, like that lady that's doing the nuclear energy and Dr. Levin, I mean, it's got to reach a point where Americans sit there and say, this is just bad.
Well, it's like, hey, we warned you they were going to shut your energy off. It's like, oh, they didn't shut your energy off. Oh, really? It just cost you $500 to fill your gas tank. You're right. They didn't have to turn it off. They just priced you out of it. That was
now they have cooling centers. You predicted a year ago, because you read documents on it, but there'll be cooling centers where your power's off. You got to go to a sports stadium. That's now in LA. That's now in Berlin.
So that's why it's like, look, I don't want that. I don't want people to not even be, the poor people to be living in 100-degree heat 24/7 because they can't afford to cool their houses. That's not what I want. So I'm not an accelerationist, but I'm just saying the bread and circus goes on until the bread and circus doesn't. And that's when people are going to say, hey, where's my bread and circus? And you're going to say, well, I told you who took it.
And then it all burns down. Which Klaus Schwab, he thinks the angrier world will bring their power in. But as long as they're being exposed, being behind it, it'll be their water.
But that's why I think the accelerationist attitude is there, because, like you said, Alex, it's an 800-pound gorilla versus a little ferret. And as soon as if it's an if getting this to people's front doors is what it's going to take to get that 800-pound gorilla up and saying, hey, we got to turn on the gas. We got to open the coal mines. We got to shut the border down.
Pedophiles leave our kids alone.
Yeah.
All right, Jacob Ingalls, you're going to be here for a few more days on the show with us. Owen Schroyer, of course, he's on introduction. It's on 3 p.m. Central, CentralFloridaPost.com. And, of course, we're going to be having the great Harrison Smith on, who never gets sick. He was going to be on with us today, but he got sick after the show today. So hope he gets better. Obviously he will. A great patriot. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for the time. We're going to go to break. Stay right here. I want to talk to you after this. And then the great Wayne Allen Roos taking over, and then Owen Schroyer in 45 minutes. Separately, I got to pay some bills. Plus, we got great products you need. The new product, I've lost 39 pounds on it. Got it 3 months ago. It is Diet Force, all natural, concentrated, natural enzymes that are great for your libido, your energy, your stamina, but mainly your immune system, but mainly your metabolism. It works amazing. I want to thank folks for keeping us on air. Diet Force with this product, InfoWarsStore.com, is 40% off. The Ultimate Turmeric Formula, Body's back in stock. It's 25% off. We have X2, 40% off, and so much more. Thank you for keeping us on air. Also, Alice's War premieres in select theaters around the country the 29th. We have the exclusive DVD at InfoWarsStore.com. It's I didn't make the film. It's incredible. 28 years of our fight. It is powerful. Brought tears to my eyes. It's exclusively available at InfoWarsStore.com right now. Whatever you do, continue to spread the word about the reports, the videos, all of it, because the world is so ready to hear the truth right now. Owen Schroyer goes live in T-minus 45 minutes. Wayne Allen Root coming up. And Jacob Engel, CenterForThePost.com. Thank you so much for watching today. Wayne Allen Root takes over. Whatever you do, keep spreading the word, because that overrides the censors and changes the world. But I want to thank all you that have been supporting us. You know who you are. Make donations at Infowars.com/crypto. Infowars.com/crypto. We'll be right back.
All right, guys. You're watching Your Freedom Rising. We are transitioning from Alex Jones into And We Know. So we're now broadcasting And We Know from the July 10th show. I'm streaming this from Rumble.
We did not come this far to overcome this much and fight this hard, only to surrender our country back to the depraved Washington swamp.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, what a crazy week it has been. Right after going on vacation, my entire family all hit fevers. The worst was a 104.45 degree. Can you imagine? We went into life-saving mode, doing all we could to simply have enough energy to support each other. It's been a strange and very difficult week. I finally about 70% and wanted to get something out while traveling, so forgive the low quality. Hope you're okay out there with all that is going on. Biden blunders, Trump's speech, if we win in November, what would play out, protests worldwide, and more, so hopefully we'll get this out in due time. Right now you can save $150 off a 3-month emergency food kit from My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's largest preparedness company, proudly offering ready, our brand new products because they are the very best. Go to preparewithinweknow.com and get our $150 savings on their 3-month emergency food kit today. That's preparewithinweknow.com. Don't let your family suffer. Act now while there's still time. Preparewithinweknow.com.
That Joe Biden decided to cheat it. So they could withdraw their electors, or they could actually decide to award Trump electors, although I would anticipate they would probably just withdraw the electors. And if that happens from 3 different states, 3 different resolutions go into Congress, and I'm summarizing this.
Right.
It's a complicated issue, but it would have to go into the U.S. Congress to decide whether they want to accept the resolutions, whether they want to act on them or not. So it's a complex issue that needs to be handled complexly by different state legislatures and the U.S. Congress. And I actually think that it's designed well, because you don't want this to be something that you can quickly, easily overturn elections. It needs to be something that you need many, many elected officials to take action on. You have to have the majority of, in this situation, the majority of 3 different legislatures say, oh, you know what, we got it wrong, then Congress. So it's a complex issue. I don't know that this Congress would take action on it. However, after 22, if we can place them,
There might be. Who knows?
Like you said, it's never been done before, but that's why this primary coming up in November is so, the midterms rather, is so important. Yeah. It's important that we get it right, and we...
It is important that we get it right. And that was Christina Bobb, who's now one of Donald J. Trump's lawyers, spoke about the pathway to decertify the 2020 election. I've been kind of wondering about it myself. She said they could withdraw their electors, or they could actually decide to award Trump electors. So if we can pull the midterms off, will we have the right people in place so that they can actually do what's supposed to be done for our country? And after traveling a little bit, talking to people, it seems like there's a lot of folks around that are sick and tired of what's going on. Folks are having a hard time buying groceries, filling up their gas tank, making ends meet. So that lawyer, probably the one that Newsweek is referring to, says he will be reinstated as president if GOP wins the midterms. That's not what she said. She said it could be. This headline says he will be. Now, how would the mainstream media feel about all of this? We noticed that they still open their big mouths when they talk about President Trump and how they actually feel about him.
If he runs, will somebody explain to me how he accepts losing?
Yeah, that's a big conundrum. Look, I think there's probably maybe a 15% chance he doesn't run, but very likely he's in.
It seems like all these people was death. That was the only answer. How many times did you
The only plan we have is another Republican congressman, a former Republican congressman. I said, look, we have no plan for this except sitting around hoping he dies.
So they are openly admitting that they want President Trump to die on MSNBC. He's not accidentally slipping. That's what they feel like he's doing, but it's what they want. And they put this information into the heads of the people that hate him, that want him gone. And then what do you think sparks throughout the entire United States? Why wouldn't this guy be under arrest immediately for calling for President Trump's death?
Right.
Oh, no. But if you say anything about this this hack right here named Joe Biden, they'll come after you in a heartbeat. So the poll from Breitbart will show you that Joe Biden's approval rating sinks to a historic low of 29%. And I could say that is probably not accurate. It's probably more like 9%. But who knows? Who knows who they talk to, how they make phone calls, and more. All of this needs to end, and could be. You see, the founder of Black Lives Matter, Memphis, is sentenced to 6 years in prison for illegally voting. So we think not much is happening. Maybe the law's not getting involved. Maybe people aren't getting arrested. We beg to differ when we see information like this. And then you also see the AP putting out the Wisconsin Supreme Court disallows absentee ballot drop boxes. In a 4-3 ruling, the Wisconsin Supreme Court sharply restricts absentee drop boxes and rules they may be placed only in election offices and that no one other than the voter can return a ballot in person. It's a major blow to Democrats who count on ballot harvesting. I wonder what President Trump had to say about this recently in Anchorage at this huge rally.
The election was rigged and stolen, and now our country is being systematically destroyed. Yesterday, we got big news out of the great state of Wisconsin. Did you see it? The Wisconsin Supreme Court ruled that widespread use of ballot drop boxes, I call them unlock boxes because they unlock them, all across the state of Wisconsin is totally illegal. I said illegal? So they said it was illegal. So what does that mean? I know what that means. You all know what that means. How about some of these boxes coming in? 100 votes for Biden, none from Trump, none. They couldn't even give me one. That's why they're called unlock boxes. Just as I've said all along, the use of these unmanned, unsecured drop boxes was never authorized by the state legislature. But partisan, radical Democrat officials simply did it anyway. They just put these boxes all over the place, and then they dumped them. In other words, they systematically violated the law to rig the 2020 presidential election. So, now in Alaska, we didn't have to worry about it because we won by so much, you know. We didn't worry about it, did we? I ran twice, I won twice, I did much better the second time than I did the first, believe it or not. Getting many, many millions more votes than we did in 2016. And likewise getting more votes than any sitting president in the history of our country by far.
Yeah. So continuing to bring up winning the election of 2020. It was stolen. He knows it. We've talked about this over and over again. And folks have even mentioned, you know, I've talked to a few. They say, you really think that President Trump's going to run again? And my answer is always, why would he tease an audience and say in some of his rallies, any of you like me to run again? And he talks about that repeatedly, and I don't think he would tease an audience if he didn't plan on someday running again, if not getting placed back in office if we can win these midterms. And so another disaster, I'm sure you guys are aware of, but we're going to bring it up anyway, one that touches my heart, is the military. The Army cutting off more than 60,000 unvaccinated Guard and Reserve soldiers from pay and benefits. Wow. 40,000 National Guard, 22,000 Reserve soldiers refuse to be vaccinated, thank God, against COVID-19. They're no longer allowed to participate in their military duties. Now that's real honor, courage, and commitment there, folks. Laura Logan says almost like they are trying to weaken the U.S. and weaken our defenses, since they are doing this at the same time as they are warning of external threats from adversaries like China. That's right, because you see the headline from Epic Times, they're going to challenge us. Marine Commandant speaks on the China threat. And Laura chimes in again, yet nothing to say on the purging of your ranks. The eternal threat from those in power command who intentionally handed advanced military technology to terrorists. No comment on the rising number of deaths, forced vaccinations, or the politicization of the forces you command. What a hypocrite and a coward. China is directly benefiting from these policies which have weakened our defenses, and you know it. You have abandoned the Marines you lead, betrayed the people you promised to protect, and dishonored the oath you took to uphold the Constitution of this nation. You don't fight for the men and women whose lives are on your hands. Why would anyone listen to you? You and all the others like you are a disgrace to the uniform you wear. They're going to challenge us. Marine Commandant speaks on China threat. This guy's lost his mind. It makes you wonder who he belongs to, who he really honors behind closed doors. Definitely doesn't put his hand on the Bible.
Right.
So then you continue to move forward, and you look at these Biden folks that are running everything. Do you guys know the Netflix cheer star, Biden campaign surrogate, Jerry Harris? He was sentenced to 12 years for child pornography.
Wow.
You follow the trail, and it leads straight to pedo Joe Biden. That's right, because R.J. Cashapp showed us in October 2020, we reported exclusively that Joe Biden used the pseudonym Peter Henderson. Now, 4chan has discovered that his son, Hunter, had Joe saved in his iPad as Pedo Peter. Pedo Peter. He called him Peter himself.
Wow.
What's interesting is that General McNary showed us, and many others, that hackers have successfully entered Hunter Biden's iCloud account, downloaded 450 gigabytes of his data, have shared it via torrent, and are now currently combing through the data and sharing what they find on the various image boards. And I've seen some of this stuff. I've seen things from his family members, his niece, some very questionable underage children, and more sick stuff. And there was a caution from General McNary, which is good. We caution everyone to be very careful when viewing or sharing any content from Hunter Biden's iCloud account. Please be aware that sharing content, especially child porn, is illegal, regardless of the context. Anything shared here in this channel will be immediately removed to protect the integrity of our channel. Be smart, Anons, and don't fall for any traps set to incriminate us. There will be more leaks coming against these horrible people. You heard President Trump last night say Pelosi's career is over. Why would he say that? Her laptop leaks are next. Outstanding. Makes you wonder more and more what is going to be happening to the Bidens here in the future. We're going to show you some more that's been unlocked on their family in a moment. We're at andweknow.com, folks. We're still posting information on this site and also the patriotlight.com. We have 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, updated news that is coming in from many resources thanks to Barry and his hard work on this website. We also still have our gear out there. We have these new Auk Pet bandanas that Angie and Jamie worked hard to put together, and I saw them and got a few of these for our dog. And they're outstanding. Look at that. Pretty cool. They've got all kinds of sales going on at right2print.com. Hopefully you guys are jumping on that and enjoying this. And the patriotpin.com is also a great place where Barry has many pins put together, including the And We Know Challenge coin. For now, here's more amazing Patriots wearing our gear. We're also at Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV, folks. And if you haven't had a chance, please hit subscribe on that Rumble or BitChute or Odyssey. Just hit that subscribe button, folks. We got some more great information coming up.
Based on our investigative unit's reporting, the U.S. Attorney in Delaware has been probing a number of issues. They include tax fraud, tax evasion, money laundering, as well as whether Hunter James Biden and their business associates complied with foreign lobbying laws. What I can also tell you based on our reporting is that there's a lot of noise and static in the system. Based on my experience, that can be an indicator of conversations and discussions between the two parties on whether they can reach some kind of plea agreement.
It's interesting that they would play this on CBS News, out of all the places. But they don't bring up all of the child porn and more. They just bring up some issues dealing with money and their connections on the Biden family. And as that's playing out, they had an explosion and fire at a natural gas plant in Oklahoma. I don't know if you saw this, but man, this is the second one, I believe, in the last week or 2 weeks. Makes you wonder if they're starting to take out the gas, the natural gas throughout the United States as part of their 2030 agenda.
That breaking news, a massive firefight underway right now at the One Oak gas plant in Medford. People within a 2-mile radius are being told to evacuate their homes. And the Oklahoma Highway Patrol has shut down several streets and interstates in that area. News 9's Angelicia Bruton just got to the scene. And Angelicia, you really have a great shot of the plant behind you. You can really see that fire and the smoke for miles.
Yes, several crews are here battling the fire at the One Oak gas plant. Just driving here, you can start to see a big cloud of smoke once you get to Kay County. Smoke is billowing out of several of the pipes. You can still see that there's some flames on several of the pipes. There's a big one on the far left of the screen, and there's also one closer to the ground. Firefighters have been here for several hours, and you can still see that the flames are still going. The plant is here in Medford. There's no word yet on what caused this. Officials are asking anyone within a 2-mile radius to leave. That goes for anyone that lives south of Main Street as well. One OK says right now they're not aware of any injuries. And we're about 3 miles away from the plant, and the road is pretty clear, but ODOT is still here, blocking off some of the roads, and they're advising people not to travel through Medford and not to use Highway 81. Live in Medford, Angelicia Bruton, Oklahoma's Own, News 9.
That's disturbing news for sure. It makes you wonder what in the world's going on as we've watched food plants burn down. We've watched farmers have their land taken from them. We're watching natural gas plants burning down. But then you go over to another part of this entire show. You guys know the Georgia Guidestones were taken down. You're probably wondering on my comments on that one. I'll share with you in a moment. But first, I want to show you Bill Gates Foundation supermarket in the Netherlands that sells fake meat. That caught fire in the middle of the night.
Wow. A big fire.
And so makes you wonder what in the world is going on as we're watching these key places going down. Georgia Guidestones blown away, fires in Rome, Sri Lanka Revolution, and now Bill Gates Foundation supermarket in the Netherlands burning down. Why would this all happen? What in the world is going on, and how is this all playing out? Why would the Georgia Guidestones be taken out? And so there's a lot of videos out there covering the Georgia Guidestones and wondering why it happened at 3:33 in the morning, why it was taken down, why they started attacking those who were conservatives and biblical people, saying that it was housing Satan. It makes you almost seem like, for me, that it's a trap so that they come after us for saying that we're excited about watching stones get taken down, and then they start attacking those conservatives who hold to those particular beliefs. At the same time, it could be an act of God, as he's been hitting obelisks all over with lightning. He's been taking down the Georgia Guidestones, and hopefully these things that are designed to take us out in the future, like this supermarket from Gates, could mean even more disaster for them. So them being the deep state would be farmers in India now rising up as well. Yep, folks, not only do we have the farmers in India rising up, you probably saw the farmers in the Netherlands, I'll show you that in a moment, but Sri Lankans broke into the gates of their central bank. This is where the entire world needs to do. Look at this on the bottom left. Wow. I saw this video. I saw videos out of China where they're not able to get money out of their bank account in their bank accounts, and so they're going crazy over there. And then Sri Lanka has been taken over the government. You can see that thousands and thousands of people.
Wow, they had a lot of people.
They have had enough, and this has been playing out worldwide as we're seeing the Netherlands, the farmers, the mayor of Nijmegen, and had ordered that not a single farmer should enter the city. Right after that, a few hours later, here's the city.
Wow, look at that. Wow.
These farmers are not backing down. I don't know if you've been watching anything on it, but Eva Vlardingerbroek, I believe that's how you say your name, has a lot of great information on this, so I wanted you to hear from her.
What are they worried about with nitrogen? It sounds laughable to me.
It is laughable, and that is what you should take away from this. It's not a real crisis. Obviously, nitrogen isn't the problem, especially not when you consider the fact that, well, the Netherlands, like I said, is such a small piece of land. Yeah. We have our neighboring countries, Belgium and Germany, that don't have to implement any of these measures, but the Dutch government is doing it. And the real reason, obviously, behind it is that the Dutch state wants the farmers' land. Because probably there are a couple of reasons. So the farmers, first of all, they're a group in society that are very self-reliant. They are basically ungovernable in that sense. You know, they own a lot of the Dutch land, and they produce agricultural products, they have livestock, they produce beef. And what's interesting to know is that the Dutch minister who has pushed this nitrogen law has a brother-in-law who is the owner of the Dutch online supermarket called Picnic. Guess who invested $600 million in Picnic last year? Right, Bill Gates, the man who wants to make meat.
And you know, that's not just a conspiracy theory. I know, for example, that the head of the Netherlands, am I pronouncing his name right? Rutte? How do you pronounce the name of the leader of the Netherlands? He's a serious member of the World Economic Forum too. What's his name?
Mark Rutte. Yeah, Mark Rutte is very, very deeply involved in the World Economic Forum. And, well, it's obvious that this law is a product, again, of these globalist institutions. Because this needs to happen before 2030. Rings a bell, right? Agenda 2030, the Great Reset, World Economic Forum. It's very clear that this is a made-up crisis, which we've seen before with these organizations. That's the way they handle, that's the way they operate these things. They say, we have a crisis, and you are the ones that are going to have to solve this by giving up all of your rights. Yeah. So that's what's happening here. They're taking away these farmers' land. They're taking away property because they see a future for us in which we're completely dependent on the state. You eat bugs, and well, they own your land. You own nothing, and you'll be happy, is what they say to you. But these farmers are not happy, and I'm so proud that they're fighting this.
Yes,
I'm also very proud that they're fighting this. All types of fighting going on worldwide, and we have other new study reveals nearly 50% of adults rated vision loss as the worst possible health outcome. Those questions voted that losing vision would be worse than losing a limb, their hearing, speech, or memory. More adults would rather lose their memory than their eyesight. The things you need for healthy vision cannot be produced by the body. You must be supplementing them into your diet. Otherwise, your eyesight suffers. So the eye vitamins you want to maintain and support healthy vision are in this amazing new pill. That's visionwithOck.com. That's right. Yeah, I'm teaming up with them. So for these vitamins for your vision, get 51% off your order by clicking on the link below. That's visionwithOck.com. Huge crowds take it to the streets of Buenos Aires in Argentina protesting against inflation, the IMF, and the government, demanding that President Fernandez put a stop to debt payments. Clashes with police erupted during the rally, but no arrests have been reported. Now, back to Eva, who talks more about this Dutch farmer uprising, protests on the climate mandate.
You said that these Dutch farmers are rising up against what you called the communist agenda of the global elites. What did you mean by that?
Well, it's communism to the T. If the state comes in and says, I'm going to take away your property for a so-called greater good, I don't know what could be more, essential to communism than that. So it's communism, and I'm saying that it's being done on a global scale because this is part of a bigger agenda than just the agenda of the Dutch government. Yes, it's true that the Dutch government wants the farmers' land for one reason is to house new immigrants, but this is also because they're following an agenda called the 2030 agenda. These are restrictions and climate regulations that are imposed all over the world. So we're being hit hardest right now, and we might be the first ones, but it's very important for other people to know that they could be coming to you next.
As an example of these restrictions, in Sri Lanka, the government abruptly banned chemical fertilizers in an attempt to become 100% organic. Now, a food and economic crisis is devastating the country. Do you think we're going to see more of these policies and protests continue?
Yes, we already see now that in Italy, farmers have gone out on the street as well. In Poland, farmers are going out. So it's spilling over, which is a really good sign because, like I said, these restrictions are going to be very relevant for everyone because obviously it's a global agenda. They want us to eat bugs. They want us to eat the fake meat that they produce. So it's very clear that this is not something that just the Dutch people will be subjected to, and that's why we need your support from other countries.
And what do you think Americans can take away from what's happening in the Netherlands?
Well, from a Dutch perspective, I would say that Americans should be very happy that they have the Second Amendment and that you should protect that with all your strength.
Wow.
Eva Blardingerbroek, thank you so much.
Well said.
Those are strong words. Second Amendment. We should be glad that we have it. And that is for sure. Can you imagine? Can you imagine what would happen in the United States if we didn't have the Second Amendment? And so, looking into more on our country and some strange occurrences, I thought I'd show this to you from Jesse Waters about leadership selections from the crazy one named Biden.
Whenever a new hire joins the Biden administration, we try to give them a fair shot. All we ask is that they be the most talented and the most qualified person in their position because they work for us. Well, now there's a new kid in town. Uncle Joe hired someone named Brad Brinton to serve as Deputy Assistant Secretary of the Department of Energy, specializing in nuclear energy. Sam is gender fluid, goes by they, them. Their favorite pastime is dressing up as a drag queen, and, we don't even care about any of that. But what interests us is a new whistleblower report claiming substantial irregularities during their hiring process. According to a letter obtained by National Pulse, a whistleblower complained that Sam is maybe not the best or the brightest, and that they were chosen because of their gender identity. Quote, there is concern that making personnel selections for career positions based on political considerations and gender fluid identity as means of exerting political influence over the workforce and at the expense of other better qualified candidates. Wow. Joe must really think Sam is special. Well, let's find out why. Well, for starters, Sam loves talking about their sex life and something called puppy play. In their free time, they like giving college. We're not going to get into details. And most disturbing of all, they have a thing for Dr. Fauci.
I like to think of Daddy Fauci looking down on us and singing this type of song to the young people in his life each and every day for the anything he gets done. So. We cleared off the tables, leftovers saved, washed the dishes, and put them away.
Daddy Fauci. Let's try to keep those thoughts to ourselves, Sam. But sadly, that's not the most disturbing part of their sexual portfolio. Back in 2015, Sam went to war for the website rentboy.com. It's a gay prostitution site that was shut down for promoting underage prostitution. Brinton wrote an op-ed saying the dissolution of Rentboy is more dangerous than the website ever was. Now these young men might have to return to communities and homes which have rejected who they are. And that's when the real danger begins. I think the real danger is letting an unqualified person be in charge of our spent nuclear rods, but heck, maybe I'm just old-fashioned.
And there you go. Just when you thought you heard it all,
right?
We have more information on strange pics from this strange one.
Definitely strange.
Just when we thought we heard it all, right? I mean, more information keeps pouring in. More excuses of why people are hurting. Germ warfare gave us an update. Experts warn certain sleeping positions could increase risk of blood clots and heart problems. So yeah, if you go in and get your body checked because you've got a blood clot or you've had heart problems, they're going to tell you it's because of the way you sleep. Reason number 623. Blue Sky showed us, replying to Lady Spalding 11, using a chart, you notice that the 1,223 died in the trials, not even mentioning all the other adverse effects from the vax. According to Dr. McCullough, who, as a reminder, the CDC and FDA used as an expert historically, said drugs get pulled off shelves at 50 deaths. Why didn't they pull when it had 1,223 deaths for children? For 17, 18 to 30, 31 to 50. Why? Even more so, just another update to show you this Florida model. Claire Bridges had both legs amputated due to the vaccine.
Wow.
Just look at what this poor girl has had to go through due to science. So when do the criminal trials for Gates and Fauci start? Claire Bridges no longer has her legs because she trusted the science and the people that are putting this information into their minds every day, that it's okay to put this into your body.
Wow.
So sad.
Tragic.
After everything we've been through this past week, We've had different opinions from truthers, friends of ours, saying that, hey, it looks like you've caught the COVID, and now you know what it feels like. We had high-degree fevers, throat pain, body aches, and more. And then others have told us that we were experiencing vax shedding. Regardless, never experienced anything this bad before. And we did all the protocols that we could with the vitamins, the ivermectin, and more. And it has been a very trying week for us all. We're glad to come out of it. And I tell you, experiencing this type of sickness that we've never experienced before makes me understand even more what a lot of you are going through. And the confusion that's handed to you at these care clinics and more. One thing that we made sure that we didn't do, even when we had these super high fevers, is we are definitely not going to the hospitals, because we know what would happen if we go to those. So be encouraged. Use the stuff that's on our site, thepatriotlight.com, and make sure that you guys are following the right information and protocols to stay healthy. Definitely needed. And so we're hoping at the end of all this, about all of the people that are doing this type of criminal behavior, including the missing children. You'll look at President Trump speaking recently about a fast trial and death penalty. Last night, President Trump spoke at length about the need for the death penalty, discussed the lack of crime in certain countries as a result of their swift and quick trials.
China has no drug problem. No, China has no drug problem because they have what's called quick trial. Quick trial, where a dealer, when caught, goes to trial quickly, and if guilty, is immediately executed. Singapore, likewise, despite the wealth and all of the other aspects that would normally lead to massive use of drugs, has no drug problem because dealers are given, after a fast trial, the death penalty. Many years ago, China became a drug-ridden country. It was weak, lethargic, and large sections were easily taken over by other countries and the enemy. They had massive problems with opium, as you probably know from reading your history books, and other drugs were devastating them as a country. This went on for many, many decades until their leaders decided it must stop, and it must stop now. It was brutal, but it ended, and it ended very quickly. When I was with President Xi of China, I innocently and perhaps naively asked, "You have much of a drug problem in China?" And he looked at me and said, "No." Why would you ask? He didn't say this, but I'm saying what he was thinking. Why would you ask such a dumb question as that? No, we don't have a drug problem. Why would we have a drug problem? There is no problem. Drug dealers get the death penalty. The trial goes very quickly. So instead of coming into China, they go someplace else. We've had big drug problems over the centuries, but we don't have a drug problem at all now. They don't deal in China. These drug dealers, they just don't deal in China. The consequences are far too great. It's called death.
So you mentioned even in October 2012, got to do something about these missing children grabbed by the perverts, too many incidents, fast trial, death penalty. And so we wait day by day as we go through this hot summer, watching the protests around the earth. We watch folks going up against their governments who are trying to take total control over everyone. We're watching our gas plants explode, natural gas plants. We're watching the Biden family get exposed in so many ways. The connections with them and some very disturbing people has made light throughout many avenues, including the Truther channels. We know that if we win in November, something big would happen. Even in our interview with Cashapp recently, he said we're going to win big in November. Could that be when the tide turns? It seems like we always have a date that we look forward to, and normally we're somewhat disappointed when that date comes and goes. So we'll continue to pray, continue to hope that it will be amazing in November, that we will make it to that point where we can have real votes come in without cheating. But until then, we continue to see this world pummeled by the deep state, by those who want to control us all. And we keep hoping that God will make a move and that the plagues will strike them just like it did the Egyptians, and that we will be free on this earth once again. But during this time, we have the opportunity to continue to share our faith regardless of how we feel, what we're going through, how many people are sick and hurting. We have the opportunity to share our faith in God through His Son, Jesus Christ.
But nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad.
Let's pray. Father in heaven, we come to you once again thanking you for all of the continued love and support that you give us through so many. We thank you for the recovery of my family through this very difficult sickness this past week, something that we've never experienced before, but you got us through it. We have learned greatly how many families are affected through this deep sickness that hits so many. We lift up those that are hurting, those that are finding hard times at this time in their life, making pennies, able to buy food, fill up their gas tanks, find jobs, and more. Such a trying time, Lord, for all of us, and we just hope that you would come through, use the right people, protect those that are trying to defend our country and other countries around this earth. May you continue to provide strength to so many, especially these farmers, the Dutch farmers who are fighting against tyranny. Please continue to give us the strength, guide us and direct our hearts to others. May we be used and ready at a moment's notice to be used by you to talk and share of your amazing love for all of us. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
All right, guys. You're watching Your Freedom Rising. I think that's going to be all for today, guys. Definitely stop back tomorrow, guys. I'll be streaming tomorrow. Yes, sir. Thank you, guys. Shout out to the chat. We've been had Frankie, Black Wolf. Thanks for hanging out, guys. I'll be back on tomorrow. Yep, you all take care. I'll be back on. Thank you, Frankie. Around 11 Eastern time tomorrow. I'll get some videos loaded up for you guys. Some good stuff. Plan on showing some Kim Clement prophecies, and then we'll go into some other videos and then into the Alex Jones show. So God bless you guys. Stay in the fight. Keep your heads up. We'll keep coming together. Fighting the good fight and standing for truth. For now, this is Your Freedom Rising. Signing off, guys. You all have a good day.